Are you awake? Was hoping that would wake you up. How are we? We are here. We are live and doing a thing. Good morning, everybody. That stinks, pun intended. Oh, because of what we've got here from Lucifer. He's decided that the reason that there was a half an hour wait, we didn't start at 8 o'clock. Gordon farted. Needs 30 minutes to air the place out. That's generous. 30 minutes for a real stinker takes years. But anyway, nice to see you, the Wallace, not just Wallace. It's the Wallace. Cameron does not know what's real anymore, and I'm very happy that you guys are as confused as I am about when I'm going to be live. You know, I think it's good. Oh, hold up, sorry. Hi, Kita-chan. Bye, Kita-chan. Hi, Carl. Bye, Carl. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for saying bye. Although I prefer you to just say hi and stay, but it's better than nothing. The month is coming. Look, we have just a month to go, and then all of the exciting things start. So, hello, I have come to see stream. Well, I hope that you could hear that because it auto adjusts. There's a whole no noise thing. But item, I'm here I will show you stream. Here is stream. So thank you for coming. Good morning, all. Item, what would you say if I was going to if I was going to stream when it's nighttime for you? Because that's gonna start happening in a month. Also, hi, I haven't shown this necklace before. This is Daisy and Axel. There you go. So that is a great meme lord thing. You know what? I still have to upload the anime one. You know what? Seeing as but you guys can have a look at this one again, Lisa, and I'll it's part of, I'm keeping that. I'm going to put that as part of the intro video that I'm eventually going to make. I've got some ideas. I'm going to need some of the funny screenshots that you guys have used of my face. I'm sure I could find one in just any stream though. Find 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So I would need that for a countdown. That's my ideas. I'm just going to have my face there going. Anyway, it is funny, isn't it? It's Baneko. It was for when I was diagramming June. Another one of the projects that just falls by the wayside, but gonna have more of a schedule coming up. Anyway, so what we're doing today, which we've done it in general before, where we oh, YouTube just notified. I'm so glad, YouTube. Thanks for letting everybody know. Hi, Dorcas. He's on it. Okay, so anyway, what I have done before is looked at my diagrams and tried to diagram them as one of those streams where I didn't know what to do. So I just said, let's just go rogue and look at stuff. And it was one of those chaotic ones. We didn't really, we got some insights into what I can do better, what I do already do better than I did the first time. But what we're doing now, so meta, exactly, Zero Fucks. So what we're doing now is we are going to, and apologies if there is a delay, just hold on, I need to check something. It seems like there might be a bit of a delay because I'm using the virtual camera, which is freaking annoying, but anyway. Anyway, so what we're doing today, focus. God, guys, you get off topic so easily. So we're going over one specific diagram today. with the video to see how well it stands up. We did it like briefly with others. No, this one is very focused, and it kind of turns into, oh, Zerofax followed us on Twitch. Yay! Great. You can check us out for games then. But anyway, yes. We are going to see whether I need to add anything to this diagram, see how it goes, see if it flows. Let's see if it's valuable, huh? Let's see if Past Kitty created something worth looking at even. So we've researched the Kitty streams and come to the unanimous conclusion that there is only one thing missing: more scuff. You know what? I will deliver. I mean, look at this. I will deliver. I literally have my chat message right above you. You can't even see my face. That is scuff. That's great production value here. So anyway, hi Jay. Yes, I'm going to try and focus. I don't think it'll happen, but anyway, that's what we're going to do. Let's get into, okay, so the one that we're doing today is the Blair White and Destiny debate. Right? Debates. They call it a debate literally in the title. So that's what it is. This is one of my favorites. The reason that we're doing it is also it's one of my favorites. So let's see if it remains my favorite after this. Yes, remember Destiny had the blue hair. He shouldn't do that again. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So let us get to, I need to actually open Xmind. That would help. I need to open a local file because so what I've done is I've downloaded if you go into the link in the description, that link is the original diagram, but I have now exported it and I'm opening it in Xmind desktop. Okay. And if I go to my diagramming, it should be here. Okay, and virtual camera, we are changing you to this. There we go. Right. So let's have this open. Haha. Look how pretty it is, this fit map. Check it that, boys. Look how beautiful it is. Okay, review over, loved it. Okay, so you can see how the reason that I enjoyed this conversation is because they each take turns to talk. You can see them have their little bits. Okay, that's why it's not so much a debate. Obviously, pink is for Blair, blue is for Destiny. Let's go here. Got a lot of good memes out of it. Well, that's why Destiny is blue in my mind now, always. So yeah, what I liked about this conversation was they collaborated to get each other's points out. That's why it actually isn't so much of a debate. When I first diagrammed it, actually was called like I think it was the first time I did a discussion diagram. Like I crossed it out and said discussion, because they aren't trying to convince each other of anything. They're actually just showing their points and showing where they disagree with each other, which I think is actually quite a valuable way to communicate online. Actually, it might be a bit more interesting than just gotcha bro kind of shit. So that's what I liked about it. And look, we mapped where disagreements were and everything. So let's one of the suggestions when I said I was going to do this, it was you should diagram a diagram. Well, we might have to just diagram the what do you call it, the feedback. But also, look, just by the way, we have a conclusion version. There was a conclusion. Look how long this mother is. Okay, part 2. And that's, I don't know if we ended the whole thing, but let's go. Okay, so let's go to, let's start. So what we're going to do is have just go with the video. Let's see how well we did it.
Back to my channel. Today I am joined by, not to use this word in an incendiary way, but a quite
diagram link. It should be in the description of this stream, but you won't be able to see me live diagramming it. I've just exported it, but I'm not going to do anything to it yet. Yeah. I just want to see how it stands up. Okay. Let's see how it follows. It's supposed to be a little map for you. Let's go.
Infamous. It's
Oh, I was going to put background music on, but seeing as we're not diagramming, let's see how it goes.
streamer on the internet. Destiny, you've been doing this before we went live. You said for 13 years, which is crazy to me. I'm at a 7, and sometimes I feel like I'm going to have like a mental breakdown from.
Oh, by the way, this happened a year ago, and I diagrammed it in June last year. So we're not getting a new diagram. Maybe we'll. I'm sure we will. That if we don't get a new diagram, I did a perfect job, and we know that I didn't do a perfect job. So relax. Okay, so let's go
from it.
Yeah. I mean, Infamous works, Far Leftist works, Establishment Show works. Like I take it all. So
Yeah. So the reason I reached out to do this because I felt as though the number of people on the internet, especially like commentators and people who do politics for a living, like you and I, that are interested in having productive conversations about the trans issue in particular, the number of people willing to do that is just going down and down and down. And I feel like things have reached such a fever pitch that I only really want to talk to people where I feel like the conversation is going to be at least oriented in the direction of solutions to problems rather than just scoring points. So maybe it won't go that way. Maybe it'll get heated and it won't be so productive, but I'm at least aiming for that.
Sure.
Cool. So look, I got it. We got it. Okay. Maybe it'll get heated. I don't know if she says that. She says that later, but why the discussion? She says online is about scoring points rather than finding solutions. So she wants to have a productive conversation. So that's what I loved about this. It turned into a productive conversation. What's missing here? Oh, that's disgusting. Look here. Freaking. Oh. Okay. I guess I built it up that we would get a new one compared to the old one, and there would be overlap. It would create a Venn diagram of sorts. Ooh, I wonder. I can't do it now because can you imagine how long it would take me to do it? Let's see. Come on. But that's a good idea. If we have a short one, you know what I'll do? There is a short one that I did of a V video. I could diagram that again and we could see the overlap. That's a very good idea. Thank you, Gray. It does create a new one of sorts, new and improved. Okay. So let's go.
Yeah. So
wait, the scuff is being delivered as foretold. Oh, my scuff, yes, into yeah. Okay, cool.
What's your mindset going into this? Do you think we're going to be like screaming, or what do you think?
Well, we've got lots of no, not really. I think we've like briefly crossed paths a few times in the past. We probably disagree on probably a lot of things politically, but obviously you're in an interesting spot being trans and conservative, given that your identity has been at the forefront of conservative politics for like the past like 2 fucking years now, because it seems like nobody in the country wants to talk about anything else. It feels like there's like.
I feel sorry for anyone who's oopsie. I feel sorry for anyone who's got to put they try not to swear on their channel and then they put Destiny in their video because they have to bleep out. Or I would say Blair's editor, whoever that is, had to deal with this.
There's two phenomena happening at the same time that are contradictory. One is that we're becoming more different than ever, and two is we're becoming more of the same. We have like these two political.
Kitty, I went the wrong way. I said we're becoming more the same, we're becoming more different. And he said different first. Anyway. How about just adding extra comments, stuff you missed, or different perspective and respect bubbles in the old diagram itself? The live one, if I go, you know what, I can actually, let's see. Hold up. Because you just want to see the live diagram here. I don't know if it will let me edit it again. Let me just get to it. I've got the link. It is on Twitter as well, the link. Let me just go and get it. Nico spitting truths here. Okay, there. The only thing is it's okay, Can I edit it here? Last modified, refresh to see the updates. Can I change it? Can I edit it now? Nope. I'm gonna just stick with the program right now, and then I'll just re-upload, or yeah, I'll have to just make a new link. I'm sorry. Okay, so no, I'm not gonna stop sharing that. I'm gonna just continue. For things that I missed, I will put things in I missed. Let's do commentary 1, and then this is meta commentary. Hi, Lucy. We're metaing again. I probably said this a lot about Destiny, but does Destiny feel more defensive than Blair's? Like, I get he's used to having argue a lot with people. He's very jumpy. He is. He seems that way just off the bat because everybody is always fighting with him. So I do agree with you. But it's not bad like he's really mean. It's just I think we can say he seems a little bit more jumpy. We could put that there. Okay, the call out actually will be there for a bit more jumpy than Blair. And I'm gonna actually see if I can copy style and put that there. There we go. Meta commentary is going to be purple now, so we don't have to be very scared. Okay? Okay, so let's go.
Political groups in the United States, and they are pulling apart at rapid pace. But as they pull apart, both groups become like more dogmatic in their beliefs. So as we stop having like conversations with each other, like the left is now saying that like my 4-year-olds can identify as trans, and people on the right are like trying to fight to take trans healthcare away from adults. And
okay, nobody's working for the middle ground. Insane. What? Insane. What's this? Okay. Like really, that's my meta commentary for that. Just hold on. Not to be crass, but she has balls of steel. Ugh. Yeah, she's great.
And the conversations have just become absolutely insane now. And
okay, there. Okay, fine. He said the conversations have become. I took the K away because he said that. But pulling away from each other, becoming more dogmatic. We stop having conversations. Nobody's working for middle ground. What he's missed here. Oh, he's missed. What she's missed here, Kitty, is he's not. I didn't put the different extremes that he had. So we had the left. So we've got. I need to go back. Where are you, video?
Nobody seems to be one adult. My 4-year-old. As we stop having like conversations with each other, like the left is now saying that like my 4-year-olds can identify as trans.
Okay, so the left is saying my 4-year-old can identify as trans. Okay, I think we are going to need a style for this. Still Destiny Blue. There we go. No. Will white work? Yeah. Okay, so the scribbly ones are the ones that that we use for the new things. I get it, but Blair just seems to want to talk to him, and Destiny sounds like he's talking to the audience. Yeah, I think that's how he operates because that's his role in the political space. He knows how much he's being watched, and that's just hidden, in my opinion, and yours. Whereas Blair, on the other hand, just seems the same no matter what situation she's in. She just seems like herself. I don't know. I guess I know that I just like her more than Destiny. So here to fuck this comment section like that guy's girlfriend. It was his wife. Anyway. Hi, Chris. Okay. Factually true. Yeah, hey, that's it. No misleading here, but that we are going on the merits of his arguments. Okay.
And people on the right are like trying to fight to take trans healthcare away from adults.
Okay, so these are the two things. People on the right okay, trans healthcare for adults. Okay, so those are not both, those are actually they're actually loaded comments already, because he's saying people on the right are trying to take away healthcare for adults. He's decided that that's what people on the right are doing. He's already put each of these people, these groups, into a monolith. But that's the whole reason that we're having this conversation in any case. He's got the left as summarized, the right as summarized. So generalization, of course. Two extremes. I think we can say that. These are the two extremes. Okay. I do know that one of the things that Blair has said before is, listen, if it's gonna save kids, I can understand trying to take away trans healthcare for adults. She doesn't want that to happen, but she's like, I would rather kids be safe. So, and she also she's upset with the LGBTQ whatever side trying to be going about it in such a way that they are getting people to feel like they need to get rid of transness instead of accept it. It's yeah. Anyway, she'll get to it in a lot more detail. Let's go.
And yeah, the conversations have just become absolutely insane now, and nobody seems to be wanting to work towards any type of middle ground solution.
Yeah, nobody's working to middle ground solution. Okay, so she agrees. We've got an agreement there with that, then.
Right, and I'm coming out.
Okay, so she agrees over here, because she had said, that's from what she said earlier. She had said discussion online is about scoring points rather than finding solutions. So it's in alignment with, I would say, don't say agreement. I'd say agreement / alignment. Okay. But we get you. We get you past Kitty. It's fine. She had short hair past Kitty. Very bad haircut. Not that this is a better one, but at least I don't look like I'm from Stranger Things. Okay, so let's go
at it from the perspective of like having done politics with like a major focus on trans issues for the past 7 years. The way in which the entire discourse has like taken shape is like insane, because like you said, the fact that it's one of the, if not the like premier political football.
You know what I actually would like to put here? She actually uses the word insane as well. I think that's a good thing to note, because using the same words as another person is part of also collaborating with them, speaking exactly how they speak, using their words shows that you understand them. So I think we can note that now that we have time to do so. Will that help? No. It's got to be squiggly. And it's pink for Blair. So I'll put that here. Noted this because she uses exact. Oh, she did! Oh my God! Look, I did it! I'm so sorry. I didn't look. Oh, there you go. There's your overlap, Gray. You see, I thought that I thought it was important to make sure. Look at past me. I didn't even notice. Oh, very good. I'm very happy. So current me didn't notice this, but now does. Noted because using same word as conversation partner builds understanding. Blair's color should be pink with, shut up. Blair is pink as fuck. Okay. So yeah, she used insane. Look at your diagram, Shinsia. Don't diagram. You know what? I think, yeah, I've got to look at it. Trickle down effects from trans. She goes over trickle down effects from trans. Bathrooms in schools, medicine, overexposure has made things hostile. So let's see what she says.
As of now, when it is such a tiny population, is really insane. I mean, it makes sense because there's so many.
Okay, so we've got Premier Political Football, and I've made a relationship. Your identity at the forefront of political discourse lately. Okay, so this over here, Blair's identity is at the forefront. That wasn't clear. Despite being trans, being a tiny part of the population. So, Premier. Meaning this is where political battles are. What are the issue, right? Meaning the issues people are fighting about despite their true prevalence. But I think it's becoming more prevalent. So that's why. Okay, don't say everything. Okay, let's go. Premier, despite trans being a tiny population. Okay.
Different trickle-down effects from trans in general because it affects really every area of life. You know, it affects, you know, bathrooms and school and medicine and all that. So it makes sense. But the overexposure, I feel like, has just made things so hostile.
I think, okay, so she uses the word hostile here. So we've got insane and hostile. These two go together. I guess we could, let's see if he does something else. So what I've done here is trans issues in political discourse. That was her one topic. Then I moved on to bring structure as an idea. Okay, so instead of keeping, because now technically she is still going on with the same term, right? But what I've done here, what Past Kitty did, is instead of continuing to branch out this, I said, okay, fine, she's done talking about trans issues in political discourse. That's the, excuse me, guys, headphone warning. But you've been warned. 3, 2, 1.
Who is at the door? Who is at the door? Is it chicken or something more? Got to answer the door. Got to answer the door. Who rang the doorbell? I need to know more. Who is at the door? Who is at that door? Is it chicken or something more?
You guys awake? Who's deaf? Is it chicken or is it more? It is not nothing. It was nothing for me. It's just food for Gordon, and there was cheesecake there and everything. I've never heard this song, but it's perfect. Okay, so the sound quality is scuff, but it's a creation of Rosales from Rosales Comics. He uses that during his Sunday show, because you know, whenever I'm live, there's going to be somebody coming to the door. So he made that song for that. I just managed to take it off Twitter, and that's why it's in. But I feel like the scuff works, and also it wakes everybody up. Like you thought you could put me on in the background, and then everybody loses their crap when the doorbell rings. You know what? I think because doorbell scares me, it should scare you too. Cheesecake delivered to your door. Yeah, anything really delivered to your door. The scuff as foretold. The council approves. I was taking a risk. What are you doing? Food for Gordon is the most common thing. Yes, it is. You should use trans people and my friends instead. What? But that implies that every time the doorbell rings, there's just a trans person there. Anyway, the leader of the Canadian Conservative Party is about to have a press conference at my work. Then we are having a barbecue. Well, Lucifer, that's really cool. Take some pics for us. The only doorbell that scares me is Lucille Ball's. Is that? I was waiting for the cricket sound, but you know what? I need a soundboard for that. But I put a pause for you. Just imagine it. Okay.
Let's add some structure to this because I do have some topics kind of laid out that I want to go through. Some of which I feel like we're going to have middle ground on, and some we're probably going to bat heads on, but that's fine.
Sure.
So I wanted to start with.
Okay, so she wants to bring structure. So that's what I brought out here as the extending idea. She has some topics to go through, which we'll have middle ground on. Some we'll butt heads on. So she's assuming that. So one of our comments here was repeats idea of them disagreeing, makes it okay when it happens. There was warning, uncertainty. Hey, like warning when I said the music was going to be loud. Uncertainty about disagreement will occur. So I actually want to add a relationship here to repeating. I don't know why there's no relationship here. This is the repeat. Of partners. Yeah. So there is. So you see how much happens when you're repeating each other and then going on to your next thing. You overlap and then you go to your point. So let's see. Okay, repeats idea of them disagreeing. Certainty about where. Okay, so she explains where she encountered Destiny's views on trans people. Okay, so this is the kind of diagramming that I was trying to do earlier on in the debate diagram. I landed up just always trying to put the dialogue exactly as it's spoken, and that first of all takes a long time. And then second, it's just like, oh, what, you just copy pasting the transcript into a diagram? That's not really, what are you doing? You're not really absorbing anything. So I had started with closer to these ones. This is debate diagram 16, by the way, that we're looking at now. And this is my favorite one. So what I'd started doing, or I think this was the first one that I tried this in, I don't know, but it seems to be the one that I've tried hardest, is where you take the bare bones of what the person is saying. You don't have to quote them unless it makes sense. Obviously here I've said no offense in quotes because that's pertinent. That's what I'm commenting on. That's what I'm putting a commentary bubble around, that sort of thing. So yeah. No dialoguing in terms of transcribing. I like that. So she's explained. So that's what I've done here. Is I've said, explains where she encountered Destiny's views on trans people, and that's what I'm telling. What a summary. Then when we break it down, she says it was a red pill dating podcast. Insanely dumb people are on these podcasts. Okay, so that's their trans bathroom debate. So she's got context clip 1. Okay, so I put in there context clip 1, context clip 2. Now I can put links in for that sort of thing, but we won't sit through that now. Blair White's walking into a bathroom with my little boy. What's that? What do you mean, my little boy? Okay, do you want Blair White walking into the bathroom with like a little boy? Okay. Okay, so it's the two these are two quotes from Destiny. Okay. No offense. So this no offense. I don't know what we'll see what that means. Maybe that's a bit too fragmented, but let's see what do I say about this no offense. Hadn't watched a lot of your content, watched more because you brought me up, looked into your opinions on trans. Some say my audience inclined to think you're wrong on everything about this. Notes possible contention again. So that's related to this. Okay. They would probably like to know that you're pretty moderate against trans women competing in women's sports. Okay, so let's see how this goes. What? You bought a super chat? Hold on. Really? I'm sorry, Congo. Is it I mean, either way, I'll read it. Destiny has lost credibility and as a result is moving towards the right. Blair is already based. Know what you stand for or fall for everything else. Is Destiny moving toward the right? I didn't think so. Yes, I did indeed receive a receipt. Well, I'm so sorry about that. Was it what was it the one I read? Like Blair looked into Destiny and so she could talk to him. Destiny's talking like he would to anyone on the right. Look, I think what in this conversation, Blair does have that thing that yes, she is a conservative, but she is trans, so he has to respect her in that way. But then again, considering the way that Blair is treated by trans people and gay people and all of that, they actually hate her. So the fact that he is speaking to her at all, his team would supposedly not like Blair. So, but he's reaching out and speaking to the other side. So that's a good thing for Destiny. That's why people liked Destiny, that he would be talking to people that he disagrees with. This is, oh, I'm sorry, Congo, but thanks so much for it. Either way, thank you. Okay, so let's go and see how well we diagrammed this part. Press play.
First of all, why I even reached out to you was I saw you on one of these really super cringe red pill dating podcasts that I tend to lately have a habit of like getting high in bed and watching and just like losing my mind based on how insanely dumb so many people on them are. But the trans bathroom debates started happening on one of those, which I was like, why is that even happening on a dating podcast? But okay.
But so for instance, let's say that I'm a traditional father and I want to take my boy to the bathroom. Okay, let's say he's 6 years old, and then Blair White comes walking into the bathroom.
Do you want Blair White walking into the bathroom with like a little boy?
Okay, these two, I'll say of Destiny on podcast. So he's saying, if you want Blair White to be in the boys' bathroom, okay?
Okay.
Oh my God, Pearl. We're not here for pearly things.
And he brought me up, and that led me.
Right, Lucy. As soon as you see her, you get this. Oh, oh God. Blair is a representative of all my trans friends. Trans activists are cringe and have soft bigotry against trans people. Yeah, I'm not too sure where my trans friend from Varsity stands on these. I think she would be more towards activism. But actually, I should probably check out what she thinks about that, about the kids thing. But yeah, base trans people are the best trans people. Phyllis, she just is. It's okay. It's on par with when is the baby due? What? My favorite was when he asked the commentator, Southern Gothics, if she was trans, and she said, "No, I'm just ugly." That's pretty funny. Okay.
To looking at some of your other positions. on trans, some of your other content, because admittedly, no offense, I haven't watched a ton of your stuff, but I looked at some of your trans videos.
Okay. I guess I put the no offense, but I didn't put a comment in. So I'll just put that here. That she's saying she kind of removing, attempting to. She doesn't watch Destiny avidly. But also, I would also say doubles to as plausible deniability. If there is a she is unfamiliar with. But I don't feel like that's a defensive thing as much, that doubling. I think that's just me putting the context in there. Okay. Hadn't watched your content, watched more because you brought me up. Okay. Looked into your opinions on trans. Some of my audience is inclined to think, so she goes on the audience.
And we actually have like some things in common, particularly with trans sports.
Sure.
So my audience probably who might have a little bit of a predisposition to think that.
Okay. Might be, sorry. Notes possible contention. She did say, she did say,
You're wrong. So and we actually have like some things in common, particularly with trans sports.
She said we actually have some things in common with trans sports. That is the supposed. I know that she says something similar later on. Just hold on. But it comes at a different time. So there we have something in common with regard to trans, and I think that as well we could put there as notes common ground. Notes possible common ground, which, yeah, possible contention. They would probably like to know that you're pretty moderate. Okay, this is where they would be in agreement. But what did I put here? In this relationship. Okay, cool. In agreement. Okay. I'm just adding more lines.
So my audience probably who might have a little bit of a predisposition to think that you're wrong on everything on this topic, probably would like to know that you actually are pretty moderate on like trans women competing in women's sports, which my position is I'm against it, and yours seems to be as well, right?
Yeah,
She does ask. I think it's important to actually put this here instead, is that go like this, actually. Let's go, however he answers or not, let's just go back.
Sports, which my position moderate on like trans women competing in women's sports, which my position is I'm against it, and yours seems to be as well, right?
Yeah, I'll carve out the caveat that like there's probably a place for well, this gets into another very contentious issue, but if trans people are going to compete,
stop. No. It's real. It's giving me voice descriptions. Okay, relax. Okay. Sorry, just trying to fucking sort out my life here. There we go. Okay, that'll help. So I can actually navigate the video. Sorry. Okay, so you're against trans women in sports. right? So that actually would have been a better thing to do the direct quote. It's literally she gives him a what's her name? Gives him a position and says confirm. So there it is. Tavistock Clinic in the UK proves there is a pipeline to medicalize mental illness and hide it as a political issue. This is a politically motivated issue towards communism. Destiny is wrong, says Congo Chris. And the £10, what's the name? Super chat came through. So thank you very much. And he says finger guns. So first super chat. I guess you did say you'd have something to say. The scuff has foretold. Thank you, Artem. I'm so glad that you're here for the foretold scuff. Posits suggests a position and asks for him to confirm it. Not an accusation. In tone. Okay, so it's not an accusation in tone. I think that that's important because if she says you're against, like the other way people could try and do it is like, you're against trans women in sports. Like she could say it in a more combative way, but they're just talking. So let's see. I've made a connection here. So this connection is okay. It explains his explained. Okay. Let's go. So he says he's got a caveat. So did we get all? We got all of what Blair did, but you see, he goes from. She says here it ended in a question as well. Let's go to question. You know what? Actually, let's put a question here, a question mark, because we weren't using markers in that in this at this time. So we will have the question. There we go. Marker. Okay. Question mark, mark. Okay. Okay, so let's see the caveat. So what Destiny is supposed to say here is he's supposed to give us a caveat. If trans people are going to compete in the league of the gender they transition to, they should do so if they transition pre-puberty. Okay, so that's his caveat. Another contentious issue. He says, okay, so he's saying it's a contention. Okay, again, acknowledgement of possible disagreements happens again, because saying that possibly we disagree without getting to it kind of fends it off. It like it says you don't have to. I understand you might disagree. Cool. But I'm telling you my story. So it's quite interesting how they keep doing that. Advantage you get through male puberty disqualifies you from the fairly competing in female sports. So yeah, that does go against him being against trans women competing in sports. It's just with the caveats. So I'll actually say explains caveats. Okay. Carving more definition into what she said his position was. Well done, past Kitty. Okay. Then implies he's okay with children transitioning, just acknowledges as a contentious issue. Okay, so that's what another contentious issue is. That's a bit fragmented, past Kitty. Maybe you should have said pre-puberty, puberty, transition is a contentious. Is that what do you? Yeah. Otherwise, somebody reading this goes, "What do you mean another contentious issue? What are you talking about?" You know what, guys? For the end of the show, we will have trans people are my friends. That's got to get the video. Anyway, yeah.
With sports for the gender or sex that they transition to, however you want to view that. I think that the transition has to happen pre-puberty. I think that the advantages that you gain during.
Also, look at. Okay, I know it's smaller because of how our windows are being used at the moment, but Blair just closes her mouth when he says pre-puberty. She doesn't need to interrupt him. She's letting him say that she's against it, but she doesn't have to now jump on him and say, oh my God, how dare you? She's just letting him say his thing. Because she doesn't have to beat him. She just has to let him say his thing, and then she'll be able to say her thing. She'll collaborate and have a conversation. Wow, can you imagine?
During puberty, going through a male puberty probably disqualifies you from fairly competing in any female sports, is what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. You know, I'm wholly against like people who went through male puberty competing, but
Okay, so she goes, that's where she's at as well. Okay, at as well. As well. She's against people who went through puberty competing, even though I disagree with there you go. So this then is her adding to what she thinks, adding more nuance to her opinion. Let me see if I've put this on disagreement. It's disagreement, but hello, past kitty. This is also okay. Oh, and we can't put a call out for a connection. I get it. But I'll put the call out here, even though I disagree. So adding difference to the part they agree on. So here is the agreement. There's the agreement. So there's two. She's got both of them. So we can actually put them together. Well, it doesn't let me put a relationship? No, it does. Okay. And what I'm putting as this relationship between the two over here is playing nice. Well, not playing nice. What do we even want to say? It's cooperating. Building the conversation. Okay. Cool. So let's go.
In my mind, I can't think of a reason necessarily, even though I disagree with children transitioning, which we're going to get to.
So we got, which we're going to get to.
I can't think of a reason why, if you haven't gone through that puberty, you're at such a disproportionate advantage that supersedes like the natural sort of like disadvantages and advantages that people within that sex would actually have. Like there's Serena Williams, and then there's like, I don't know, like Lindsay Lohan.
Okay. I would have wanted to actually break that up. I felt that I need to break that up. I should have been like, can't think of a reason why you haven't gone through puberty. And then I would go, can't think why. If you haven't, so if you haven't, didn't have to put can't think of a reason why. If you haven't gone through puberty, wait. Going into, if you haven't gone through puberty, the advantage you're at does not supersede. Yeah, okay. If you haven't gone through puberty, the advantage you're at does not supersede the national advantages and disadvantages between people. Okay, and then an example of that would have been here. Example. And I think a better way to put it, to explain it, would be example, Serena Williams capability, natural advantage against Lindsay Lohan. Okay, I was just getting too much into the dialogue there. Okay, let's go. Okay, there's a pause interrupt. So she's pause interrupts. She does pause. Is she thinking? And then he makes a noise.
Yeah.
Like there's Serena Williams, and then there's like, I don't know, like Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. I think also,
Okay, so yeah, they both carried on talking. Okay, pause, interrupt. Let's do that way, that there. Okay. And then we go to litmus test for trans issues is what Destiny goes to. And his says nobody seems to think about trans men. Trans men will never be competitive with cis men. This is something that I agree with him on. And that's another thing that the Destiny also does is kind of that's why he was seen as the reasonable part of the left, where he would say stuff like this, where he would actually have a bit of an afterthought instead of just the dogmatic, here we go, this is what we think trans people have to be have absolutely be in the same category as cis people, blah blah blah. He is thinking about it a bit more pragmatically, and that is why people liked him. And I'll say that in past tense because a lot of people are off him now. Okay.
Yeah.
I think a really good litmus test for a lot of trans issues too, and nobody seems to ever bring this up, but like think about trans men. So for instance, if you think that trans women should be able to compete with cisgender women or normal women or whatever you want to call them,
See, there is an example, because somebody was saying, oh, Destiny is politically correct. Well, there's Destiny not being politically correct, because him saying the word normal is, wow, that's crazy. He says whatever you want to call them. Like the real pure leftists will be angry with him for calling a woman normal if she's cis. You're supposed to just say cis. Supposed to say cis woman. That's it. But he says normal. I think that also is part of him speaking the right language, I suppose, trying to speak it with them. Just going back to him, just listen to
trans women to compete with cisgender women or normal women or whatever you want to call them.
To normal women, whatever you want to call them.
Non-trans women, cis women. What about trans men? Because trans men will never be competitive with cis men. A person that's gone through a female puberty and then competes against men, except for like in trap shooting or whatever. That wasn't supposed to be an innuendo. Sorry. But
I forgot that. Oh, sorry. So hold on. You don't see trans men punching cis men at protests. The opposite is not true. Okay, you're talking about the protest part. You're talking about aggression coming from trans men. You don't know. Maybe we just don't know about them. They pass so well. But yeah, thank you for the super chat, Congo. So this is also peak Destiny as well, because Destiny has a million thoughts going through his mind all at once when he's talking to someone. Or just any time. If actually, I've seen his streams where he's researching and stuff. Just it's hard to follow sometimes. He was on this line of, except for like in trap shooting, but then he has to go and say, listen, by the way, that wasn't supposed to be an innuendo, because trap, hello, lol, trap. So I think it would be important to also just say trap equals trans person. Okay, well, trans woman. He didn't realize, he realized that could be a possible joke. Again, him being very politically incorrect by noticing that joke. A politically correct person probably wouldn't have noticed, actually, or hopefully wouldn't have noticed. An okay level would not have noticed that he made that joke, because it doesn't use the word trap in that way. So it's a trap. Yeah. So let's go.
But like, there's like there are some sports where you can compete. I think like guns.
Trap is SA. Yeah, in terms of yeah, it's kind of a fraudulent. It's not as aggressive, I'd say. It's not what would you call it? Aggravated. It's not aggravated.
Trap shooting, I think, is one of them. I think distance running might be another one. But for the most part, trans men will never be competitive with cis men in any of those categories. So yeah, like,
had to cut off anyone taking that out of context. Sorry. So I actually think we could also just say Destiny has a script running in the background, checking his wording like he has that. He knows. You see, Item was talking about Destiny seeming defensive all the time, and that is because he's always clipped out of context and things like that. So he has this sense of what are people going to do. What are they going to say about what I've just said? So he has that, and then he fixes it. So that's why I said had to cut off anyone taking that out of context. Sorry, like Blair is laughing at that. That also a laugh I think is important to whoopsie to note. But let's see.
Like if you try to think like, well, what if trans men did this? I think of the same thing for bathrooms as well. That's why I always go to people like, I don't want trans people in our bathrooms. It's bad for our.
This actually should have been a copy, a comment. I left it. I didn't format that properly. So wait, let's check.
Our daughters or whatever. It's like, okay, I always, yeah, like if you try to think like, well, what if trans men did this? I think of this in any of those categories. So yeah, like if you try to compete, I think like guns, trap shooting, I think is one of them. I think distance running might be another one. But for the most part, trans men will never be competitive with cis men in any of those categories. So yeah, like if you try to think like, well, what if trans men did this? I think of the same thing for bathrooms as well. That's why I always go like, for like in trap shooting or whatever. There's someone that's gone through a female puberty and then competes against men, except for like in trap shooting or whatever. That wasn't supposed to be in innuendo. Sorry, but like there's like there are some sports where you can compete. I think like guns.
Okay, so he goes bathrooms. Okay. Trap shooting. There are some sports. The 6. Okay, that's actually what he's saying there. We don't have an edited version. I'll just do this and change the color. Okay. Okay, people say they don't want trans people in their bathrooms because it's bad for their daughters. Okay, so, but I didn't put how he relates that, how he relates the sports thing to the bathroom thing, because he says
trap shooting. Sorry, but like there's like there are some sports where you can compete. I think like guns, trap shooting, I think is one of them. I think distance running might be another one. But for the most part,
I could literally go distance running, trap shooting. He just says guns. In horse riding is another one. Okay.
Trans men will never be competitive with cis men in any of those categories. So yeah, like if you try to think like, well, what if trans men did this? I think of the same thing for bathrooms as well. That's why.
Okay, so what he actually does is he in order to do this, he uses the reasoning. What if trans men did this? I think that would have been an important thing to actually include. That's the way he goes. He applies this here. Applies this thinking to bathrooms. Okay, so that's something that Fast Kitty missed. Becky. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Okay.
Why I always go to people like, I don't want trans people in our bathrooms. It's bad for our daughters or whatever. It's like, okay, well, do you want Buck Angel going to the bathroom with your daughter, right? You'd probably lose your mind if you saw that, you know? So yeah, that's
okay. That's kind of a fragmented thing that he's saying as well. Look, it needs more fleshing out, I'd say. It makes sense, but you have to put it together yourself. People say they don't want trans people in their bathrooms because it's bad for their daughters. He's giving, instead of saying it though, he's just saying, would you want Buck Angel? He doesn't actually elaborate on what that means. It means that what is good for a child is a nuanced conversation. That's actually what he's saying. there, because like your the solution isn't about genital based bathrooms. Isn't all, yeah, okay. Destiny is deliberately moving the conversation to trans men to avoid the conversation of intact phalluses in the girls' bathroom. Well, I would say you could still have that conversation, because yeah, he's avoiding the other extreme by going to a buck angel. They should get into a conversation about passing thus, and I think they do that. Blair would that's still open to it. Like this is still you could still talk about this over here. This point of Buck Angel does not now necessarily mean that children are going to children are suddenly safe. What I'm saying is these two things can exist at the same time. What is good for a child is a nuanced conversation. That's the thing. The extremes don't work either way. What needs to happen is some sort of balance of passing that and comfort, where somebody who is trans, legitimately so, is allowed into the bathroom that matches them. That it would be, and unfortunately, it's not that easy to say. Passing is quite a difficult thing. There's no program, there's no scan. You forgot about Buck Angel? How do you forget about Buck Angel?
Yeah, I think that the
I think Buck Angel is more based than Blair.
sports thing, I think people have kind of lost their head on a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that in general, there's just like,
okay, so it just goes into the sports thing. They've lost their head on this. Okay. In general, levels to this are lost in the discussion. There we go, Blair. You see, we talk here. He is saying we've got the two extremes. The oh my god, penis is not allowed in the girls' bathroom at all, and then Buck Angel. Whereas Buck Angel, you would be like, what is Buck Angel doing in my bathroom? I would feel uncomfortable with Buck Angel in my bathroom because it's male presenting. That's weird. If I don't know that person, all the evidence shown to me as that person walks into the bathroom is that's a guy. He's got beard, everything. So I'm expecting penis. Okay? And that makes it uncomfortable. That makes it weird and difficult. So that's what Blair is going to get at. Single occupant restrooms fix all this. Why is anyone seeing anybody else's genitals? Yeah, you're not supposed to see the genitals. That's the thing. But it is there is the social thing of just wanting your own female space to go and put your makeup and do your this and that, where guys are not. I understand that. So maybe the mirrors should be gender specific, and then the stalls themselves. I think there are some bathrooms like that. Yes, changing rooms. Yeah, changing rooms are a big problem, is the issue for me. But you know what? What Blair will say is that it's about being respectful. So if she goes into the women's because she can't go into the male's bathroom, that's the male's change room, and she won't fit in there otherwise. So she goes and changes in a stall. She's not gonna let it all hang out there. She's respecting. She understands that she is a different person, and the world is not going to change for her. She knows that she's a different configuration of person that is not normal, and the best way for her to go about her business is to go about it in private, and then come out and live her life normally. That's it. Okay.
levels to all of this, right? It's like sometimes I feel like valid concerns get bunched in with less than valid concerns. It's like, so, and even within those concerns, there's levels to it. So there's a difference between like the Walmart bathroom and like a high school bathroom. There's a difference between a high school bathroom and like a locker room. And there's a difference between like a spa, you know, so all of these things have different layers. For example, it's like, I don't see as much of an issue with obviously trans people who have made a medical transition using public bathrooms. I see a much larger issue when it comes.
Okay, I should have noted here, I don't have with people who have made a medical transition using public bathrooms. That's the change that we've made here. That this I should have specified that. Difference between bathroom at Walmart. So there's different valid concerns get batched in with less valid concerns. And there are layers, whoopsie. Okay, I'm just gonna do that and change it because I edited it. Okay, difference in bathroom at Walmart bathroom, difference between high school bathroom and locker room, and a spa. I think I should put that there, move that there. Okay, spa, I don't have much of an issue with people who have medical transition using public. I think this actually could have been done here. Okay, a much larger issue when it comes to locker rooms. Okay, so she's alluding to that, so I can have that there. Okay.
To locker rooms. Like I go to a spa here in my city, and I when I go, I'm aware that I look like a woman. I've made a medical transition, and to most people, they don't clock me when I'm out. However, I don't go in the like locker room area. I would never want to be, you know, the source of discomfort for any woman. And I think that that's like different than like someone who would really look at me and be like, in Walmart, you should not go to, not that I shop at Walmart.
I love that. I love that. I do not shop at Walmart. It was just, yeah, there we go. Oh, there we I noted it. They collaborated to make a joke. So she as well is just, they're both being content creators, streamers, being entertaining. So she's busy talking about, she's aware that she looks like a woman. She's not clocked most of the time. And, but she won't go into the locker room area. She doesn't want to be the source of discomfort for women. That's her being an individual, making an individual decision to make other people comfortable. She doesn't want to make other people uncomfortable because making people uncomfortable is uncomfortable in itself. So she's like, you know what? I'll just skip that part. And now obviously that is something that's not allowed apparently. That's compromise, and that's not freedom, and that's a lack of human rights and whatever. Different to someone in Walmart where Blair can and should go into the ladies' toilets. Yeah, so she's, I think what we can say, just the whole thing, it actually, this is very much to do, very much in collaboration with Destiny. Examples of the in-between concerns. The concerns, sorry, examples of the concerns in between safe for my child versus Buck Angel. So she actually, she fleshes out, she actually, not fleshes out, she adds definition, detail to the example provided. So you see how they are collaborating. It's not that they're trying to both get to the same point. and that's the collaboration. It's that they're feeding off each other's points, right? So he pointed out, the example of the bathrooms, right? He used the bathrooms. So she goes, okay, let's talk about the bathrooms. Talks about it there. And I'll put here of bathrooms. Okay. So that, she goes into the levels of it. So she's taken the seed that he has grown, he has dropped here, and she goes and grows upon it. And that is the collaboration that I was enjoying in this whole, it's a conversation, it's not a debate. Even though that doesn't mean that they agree on everything. And you can see nice and clearly both ways of thinking of things. And it's not a combat. It's not combative. It's just, this is what I think, this is what I think. And that's what I really liked about it. And I know what I'm saying is my favorite debate diagram is not a debate at all.
You should not be using the
Target,
bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, now we'll get into Target as well.
Okay, yeah.
there's just so much.
The frustrating is like what you say that is.
Okay, they collaborated to make a joke. So again, I think you could say not combative. Let's add there. Okay. I love Target. I've never been to a Target. We don't have Targets here. Okay, so we get into it. That's fine. I think that I left out enough fluff there.
This is the majority opinion of like 99% of trans people, or every single trans person I've talked to in real life. I've never met a trans person like, no.
Okay, that's the opinion of 99% of trans people. I've never met a person. Where does he say that? I never met a person. Okay, that's him.
Even though I clearly don't pass, I want to go use the bathroom.
Sorry. He's never met a person that has.
I've never met a trans person like, no. Even though I clearly don't pass, I want to go use the bathroom that I identify with, and I want to have a huge fucking fight over it. Like 99% of trans people that I know in real life. No, I'm sorry. Everyone I know in real life, the internet, Twitter people get different, are just like, I want to go into the place that I look like. Most people aren't going to clock me. Most people don't give a fuck. Like, I just want to pass, do my thing, be invisible, and like live my life as a normal person. And these like weird esoteric fights over like, I am a 350-pound burly man who identifies as a woman and wants to go to the women's bathroom. It is like such an online issue. And by the way, I don't think.
Okay. So he says the right needs to stop acting like every trans person is like that, like the burly man. Okay. So I get that. But let's see, it's an online phenomenon, 350-pound burly man who identifies as a woman. So there is the divide between the people, though. There are people on the right saying that's all trans people. And then there's trans people who are saying all trans people want to go and use the bathroom that they identify with, as opposed to the reality that he is pointing out is that they just want to go and go undetected. They don't want to. They want to go to the one that they pass as. Okay. I obviously put that here. That's not a good summary of what this point is, but like I could have gone this. This actually should have been the main point here. This is actually the main point. Trans people who don't pass. And that actually, sorry. Don't fuck it up. Just leave it as it is. Just leave it. Trans people don't pass, aren't typically going to the opposite bathroom and demanding to be accepted. It's an online phenomenon. Normal trans person just wants to pass and live a normal life. Yeah. Okay. Trans people know how they look. They obsess over it more than most people, probably. People don't want to have a public fight every time they need to go to the toilet. Yeah.
I think that it's bad to talk about that, but like, one, the left needs to stop defending those people because there's no fucking point of doing it. It makes you look crazy. And then two, the right needs to stop.
Yes, there you go. Whoa. How did you miss that? How did you miss that, Kitty? He said the left needs to stop defending yeah, I didn't say it. Come here. The left needs to stop defending these people. And then the right needs to stop acting like everyone is like those people. While, okay? Too many lines in there, okay?
Pretending that every single trans person is like that. I get so many trans people that email me who are so irritated when they watch these fights. Like, bro, like, I don't want to fight about when I go to the bathroom. If I look like a man, I know, and trans people know what they look like, probably more than most people do, because they obsess over how they appear and the dysphoria and everything too. They know what they look like. They know what bathroom they identify when they go into, and they don't want to have like a huge fucking public fight over their identity anytime they, you know, have to take a piss in public. So yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that she says yeah. I actually should have a yeah. Yeah, because it's agreement. Actually, no, it shouldn't be in that bubble. So I've classified that as self-ID. People who defend trans people on the left do more harm than good by defending self-ID. She started her transition almost a decade ago, won't claim to understand the experience of biological women. Some levels of socialization that I've experienced walking through society perceived as one. Empathy only grows for women as I get older. The feeling of why would I want to be in an enclosed space with that person? So qualifying her inside more than virtue signaling. Okay, that is just a lack of formatting on Past Kitty's part. Okay, also I want to put in here, yeah, she uses the word yeah. That's it's agreement. Hello, agreement words. No, not that style. This style. Agreement words. See, I am rediagramming. Okay.
that begs the question of self-ID, which is something that it seems as if most leftists either intentionally or unintentionally find themselves defending at all costs, which I have an issue with, because there's really no other area of life that I can think of where someone is able to just say, I am, therefore you have to take me on my word, other than that. And I think that is where women start to feel very uncomfortable, because yeah, I mean, we can talk about like the viral TikToks, and like I've reacted to them on my channel where it's like just like a dude with like a fucking beard and he's like in the woman's bathroom like screaming, and it's like that shit is like on one level just a really bad look, but then also it becomes an even worse look when the entirety of the right obviously is going to attack that person and say you don't belong in that bathroom, and then I would say the overwhelming majority of the left is maybe not going to defend the fact that that person looks like a woman or whatever, but will defend like their ability to be in that bathroom. And as someone who, I often say this, I've been...
What's this? You don't think Kitty would go for that one? Good what? Prison Harem, the newest Netflix anime. What? Give her 15 years. What are you guys talking about? For a while, but he wants having a gender breakdown at the time. Didn't we know him? But Scatter, what are you guys talking about? Lucy, what are you laughing at? All female pregnancies and all female prison harem. Self-ID would lead to male rapists. They're delusional. Destiny is just a broken and a guy went to call. I don't know. Cameron, you coward. Okay. Well, you know what? You had your chance. Now I'm not going to pay attention.
I started my transition almost a decade ago. So not that I will ever claim to understand the biological woman experience. There are obviously some levels of socialization that I've experienced and that I continue to experience walking through society, being perceived as one. And I completely, as I get older, my empathy.
Also, just by the way, this I would also just put here, perceived as one, indicating she's not delusional about her physical being. She knows she is a trans woman. She knows she's a trans woman. And that's a different thing to a woman. But sharing experiences. Okay, there you go. Okay, I like that she makes that clarification. And that's a thing that is missing from a lot of trans activists. They want that complete thing. They don't want to embrace the full transness of them. Like, one of the things that Blair always talks about is like, I am different. I am a trans woman, which is different to a woman. And that's good. That's me.
But the only,
which I think, I don't know, in my beautifully expert opinion, okay, as a whole trained psychologist, is I would want that for a client. And I'm joking, I'm not a trained psychologist, but I think you would want that for a client, that they would actualize, they come into alignment, their identity is in alignment with reality, and that brings a lot of peace, because you're not trying to be something that you're not. You are what you are. And I think like that would probably be the height of trans mental health, is knowing that you're a trans person, being absolutely okay with it. Meaning you are different to either male or female. It's a settling down into who you really are. I don't know. It seems like Blair's done that. Obviously, she shows us the best.
It grows for women who look at that kind of stuff and they're like, why would I ever think it's okay to be in an enclosed space with this person?
Sure.
So I think there's just like nuance, and I do wish.
Okay, I could have been more clear about this. The discomfort. Okay, the feeling of why would not be okay.
Especially because people on the left purport to be the people that are fighting for me, maybe not specifically Blair White, since I'm so hated in those circles, but trans women, trans men. I find that they do way more harm than good when they find themselves defending that kind of shit, because anyone of sound mind is going to look at it and be like, that's demented.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone of sound, I find that they do way more harm than good when they find themselves defending that.
Oh yeah, she did say that. Yeah, it's up here. People who defend trans people on the left do more harm than good by defending self-ID.
Kind of shit, because anyone of sound mind is going to look at it and be like, that's demented.
Yeah, this was.
Okay, he also starts with yeah. Then yeah. So we've got that as well. I think it's important to have that. It would be interesting to see if they disagreed. No. They would go, and okay. Uses agreements before. Before expanding. See, what happens is, this is the point. This is what I really loved about this conversation, because that's what a conversation is. They go, here is my point. Okay, look in all of its glory. And she goes, yeah, to what he explained. Okay, the opinion of this. Okay, the left needs to stop defending these people. So she is actually, she actually puts that here. She expands on that point. Point expansion. So look how beautifully it flows. I think this needs to be a thicker line. It's a bold line because look, that's how they collaborate. Let's see the point expansions before. Okay. Where is the agreement? Explains caveat. So there's the agreement and expansion. So we will put you as bold. It like explains caveats. It's an agreement and expansion. That puts them there. Cooperating building. Yeah. Okay, what is this? This point here, enough to discrete children transitioning, fine. And then there's the interrupt, which there was no point there. Nobody seems to think about trans men, so this is a new point, fresh. Then, okay, the cuts off, then he continues. This is the opinion of 99% trans people. And then there is the point expansion. Great stuff, awesome. So thick, much agree, much expand. Yeah.
Which was a phenomenon that I spent a long time thinking about because I'm trying to.
Guys, we are dilating the points. I'm sorry, I had to
figure out like why are these hyper niche issues? So like a 4-year-old, a person saying my 4-year-old is trans, right? How do these blow up?
Hold up. Where are we at? Oh, he's done his a person claiming their 4-year-old is trans. Who does this? Why does that blow up into a huge issue? Blame the actual person. Can't really, they're just crazy. Blame conservatists. What? Why are they blowing up this? Why are they blowing this up so much? Because it's being defended so hard. If you just agreed that this is crazy, then the other side has nothing further to go on. Yes. I don't know. I put the square brackets as there, but anyway, if you said trans women can't compete in women's sports, the other side wouldn't be able to harp on about it. Exactly. And this is coming from Destiny. This is what I would expect from Blair. Everybody online is keen to defend the crazy side, which is ultimately the most damaging. He has just, look how beautiful it is. He just says exactly her point. Look, it's agreement. It's agreement in the best way possible. You know why? Because he literally just rewords her. It's active listening. It's like active listening. She goes, look. He goes, look, rewording her thing as agreement. So I will put much agree, big thin, and big thin, big fat. Okay. So let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so he says hyper niche issues. That's just what I'm not loving these topics the way that I've brought up that. I think it's just I've just made them sections. Self-ID. I mean, self-ID makes sense, but hyper niche issues that doesn't make enough sense to me. I'm gonna just say this. Subtopic selection. Very poor. Kete. Yeah, I'll put a thumbs down. Thumbs down, Kitty. Okay.
Such huge issues. And the immediate temptation is first you want to blame the actual person who is doing it because it's like, what the fuck? But then you realize like, okay.
So I actually think a better thing would have been it does do more damage. Okay, it's just because he didn't say it that way that I didn't put it there. Okay.
Okay, well, there's always going to be a few crazy people, so I can't blame the person because there's always some stupid idiot. So then I want to kind of blame conservatives because, like, okay, well, you guys are the ones.
I love the way I've spelt this. Conservatives. I'll put it here. Conservatives. Okay. Why does that blow up into such an issue? Can I blame the actual person? Can't really. They're just crazy. Blame conservatives. Why are they blowing this up so much? Okay.
blowing the story up so much. And then I'm thinking, well, why are conservatives able to blow it up so much? And then when I look at the left, it's like, okay, now I understand. The reason why conservatives can blow this story up so much is because so many people on the left are willing to defend it, right?
Yeah.
If you're just willing to say that, like, listen, we probably, like, if conservatives are like, oh, you want to destroy women's spaces with trans people, it's like, okay, no, probably not. Trans women probably shouldn't compete with cis women in sports. If you can just say that and drop it, the other side looks insane to keep harping on it over and over and over again. But the reason why
There's nothing further to go on. Actually, the other side looks insane. Actually, I shouldn't be putting that as a thing. It should be an extra. The other side. But the thing is, you know what? Okay, I need to say here as a commentary on what Destiny is saying. That is exactly the problem that a person has with the left. Okay, is that they are defending all the way to the crazy. It's not that they don't want to let that go. It's not that it's they don't realize it's damaging. They literally think it is damaging to agree. They think it is damaging to say that is crazy. They want to accept it. They're pushing for acceptance. It's for real what they want. That is a real, you can't minimize that. So, and that's actually so funny because considering this makes me think of what Destiny actually does in one of his recent when he does his focus group, right? What he did there is he said, well, maybe you're just as you actually are acting as bad as the press says you are. He was talking about Trump, saying maybe he actually is doing crazy stuff. So it doesn't actually really matter how the press is covering it. He is doing bad stuff. Well, here it is. It doesn't really matter what you're saying about this. They really are that crazy. They really are. They do really want to push it to the point where my child, my 4-year-old, is trans. They are, and that still exists. Yes, there is a moderate. There exists a moderate group, and I suppose Destiny is part of that moderate group. But the extremists make for all of this yelling across the aisle, obviously. The other side looks insane, not is insane. Interesting that he makes that distinction. That is very true. I'm actually going to, I'll put that here, Artem. The other side looks insane, not is insane. Interesting. The distinction about being the perception of people arguing rather than their actual goals. Yeah. Focuses, I'll put that in square, focuses on the perception rather than goals of the arguers. Okay. Everyone online is keen to defend the crazy side, which is ultimately the most damaging. Important, I will also say important to note that this defense counts. Does count as insanity. Do you know what I mean by it does count as insanity? Hey, Ronnie, good to see you. We are diagramming the diagram, adding to the diagram. extremists on both sides ruin it for everyone. Exactly. The extremists are, but then people think that centrists are people that agree with both sides. It's like, no, actually, we literally just don't have an extremist view. Sorry? It's not that we properly straddle and hold both sides' opinions. That's not the same thing. A centrist will just have a realistic opinion. Well, at least the good centrists will. The other side ends up looking insane. The other side had nothing further to go on. And also, yeah, so that this as well, I'll just put this here. And does why is it's being defended in that way? Okay, cool. Y'all are both crazy. Is not equal to both of you have good points. Exactly, exactly. I think we should put that here just as a commentary thing. It does do more damages. We could say here, extremism is the way. By the way, centrism isn't the same, isn't agreeing. It's finding both. Okay. Cool. So I would say that Destiny is on that. He's in that centrist thing here. There are extreme centrists, but yeah, for the most part, horseshoe theory go brr. Yeah, like that's another thing though, is with the centrists, you could become a tribalist. You could just become this third faction, instead of just being an independent. You're going to be a third faction where, oh, the centrists say this, and you just revert to your tribalism and you just become your own point in the culture war, which, yeah, gross. Okay.
Why them harping on it works so well is because people on the left, even if they're the most fringiest minority positions ever, everybody on the left, at least online, seems very keen to defend it, which is ultimately the most damaging thing. Yeah.
Okay, so she goes from that. Blair as a trans conservative. Why you put a question mark there, Chinsia?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the
Another year, I mean. Yeah. Okay, we do another year. Yeah. More agreements. What should an agreement thing be? There's a thumbs down. Show legend, dislike question. Oh, that's cool. I haven't done show legend before. Look, guys. That's cool. Anyway. Ooh, and tag. What happens when I tag something? What does the legend say when I tag it? Red tag. Thanks. Can I not edit that? Yes, I can. Because yes, boy. Oh, you can also boy, we're on debate diagram 1,000,000, and I've now just figured out I can edit that. So dislike is bad diagramming. Bad past diagramming. And then, okay, we'll take out the red tag. We can have, what is friendly? What is friendly? A balloon. It's an idea. Oh, there we go. 100. That's it. I think that'll work. So if we go to the legend here, okay, sorry, that's in the wrong place in any case. But our years can be marked with 100%. because it's their agreement words. Okay. Okay, and show me the legend. Where my legend at? Come here. Be here. Agreement words. There we go, guys. I'm so glad I had a new discovery in Xmind. The best centrists base their politics on who's the hottest chick in the room. I definitely tend to be a lot more liberal when Ali's in the room. That's true. But okay, with this one over here. Okay. Cool. Thanks for that, legend. What a legend, legend. Okay. Okay, cool. So now we go into Blair as a trans conservative. So what is she going to say?
Conundrum I'm always in because, first of all, I forgot to correct you in the beginning. Like, I don't call myself a conservative. That's something that the
Okay, so actually, again, thumbs down, dislike. Okay, so what we should say is doesn't call herself a trans conservative. I know you put a question mark in past Kitty, but it's not good enough. Trans conservative, okay.
the internet definitely calls me, and definitely is always like in the crawl whenever I do like news stuff, because I think
Sure.
that I think that it maximizes to call me like a trans conservative. I think maximizes leftist ability to sort of be like, haha, hypocrisy, that makes no sense, and also the right's ability to be like, look, it's possible to be whatever. And I'm a Republican because I'm registered as that, and that's
Okay, so we've got that correct you from earlier. I don't call myself a conservative. Okay, so okay, let's see, what does she work on here? Oh, okay. They're talking about sides here, and then she talks about her side. I still think that's a collaborative point, and it's a good expansion in the conversation, because everybody online, leftists, blah, blah, they're talking about sides, and then here they'll end up talking about what side Blair is on. New agrees and moves to the point expansion about which side she is on. Ali walks in and I've got puberty blockers in one hand and poster board in the other. Yes. He's a beautiful black woman. Destiny is a woman's name. Yes, it is. It is a woman of the night's name. Okay.
the way I vote. But conservative, I feel like, denotes like a sort of like religious background. But what I was trying to say from that is like, it's hard for me to look at conservatives as like a bigger threat to me when it was like 5 minutes ago that the entire culture, including conservatives, were so neutered on LGBT issues that they wouldn't even like whisper like a negative sentiment about trans people or gay people. And then all of a sudden, the entirety of the left seems to be giving them all this ammunition, all this insane, demented stuff. And it's like, I don't know how to get past that and look at like leftists as more of an ally than conservatives, when leftists are just like, hi, let me just feed you all of these reasons to like, you know, garner hate against trans people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what it feels like, and I guess it's probably
does that make sense? I think we should have that there. Does that make sense? I think that is part of I know it's a question, but it's a good way. You end off your point. You see that people end off their points in conversations? In debates, they don't. In debates, you're interrupted. You don't get to finish your point. You get as far as you can before the next guy gets to say it. So this, I will say, ends off the point, clearly asks for feedback. In debates, this hardly happens. Okay. Okay, does that make sense? There's a question mark. Okay. Okay, so he now goes and takes that point. So he takes the, he expands on this point here. These are related points, the LGBT. So this is all about her stuff. And then there is LGBT issues. So he takes that and then runs with it. So there is the connection, connecting point. Bold. Expansion. Okay.
This probably isn't unique to transition. It's probably true of everything. It feels like the T part of LGBT it's become like the staging ground for all of our social fights. So when people are arguing about,
this is actually quite interesting. It's become the staging ground for all our social fights. I think also you could apply that to representation in video games is the staging ground for our social fights. That everything, the culture or the culture war is in everything. So the staging ground, the idea of a staging ground, it's actually, I like that idea, that concept.
trans people, they're not really arguing about trans people. Like when people on the left are arguing about trans people, they're not really arguing about trans people. They're arguing for some kind of like radical acceptance of like a paradigm shift for how we view like sexuality and gender in the United States. When people are arguing against LGBT stuff, they're what they're really arguing against is this kind of like newer progressive view of the United States, where they want to return to a little bit more traditional, like conservative religious values. They want to view more traditional things around marriage and society, and like all of these like kind of more nebulous, larger societal topics, they all get like poured into the trans stuff, such that when people are fighting for and against trans stuff,
she making agreement noises.
Oftentimes they're not even really fighting for or against trans stuff. It's all this other stuff that they're fighting for. It's like if you talk about trans stuff, like people's minds go to like, well, Russians have like pure views of society, and this is why like the West is collapsing. Because I was like, what the fuck are we even talking about right now?
Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned at the beginning you saw my trans stuff because it came up on a fucking Red Pill podcast. Like I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, that's very good. Should have noted it here. Referring back to something Blair said earlier, good without like adding to it. Finding further relevance for something Blair mentioned earlier. It's not a gotcha. Usually in a debate, if you're doing that, haha, you mentioned this and I'm going to use it against you, on God. But this over here is just, that's part of another sign of collaboration, when you just like, he's just using something she spoke about. Look, I heard you is, it's like saying, I heard you, I hear you. I think it's all the way there. Is it up here? Yeah, Red Pill podcast. There we go. Basically, where is my writing? There we go. Basically says, heard. Okay, I love it. Look at it. This is, I'm still loving this conversation because it's just a conversation, and I just love how humans interact. Like, see what they do without even having to think about it exactly. It's just, this is human interaction. Oh, I love that. Okay. Okay, does that make sense? Then we've got the expanded. Okay, mentioned earlier. Okay.
Notice this, but like every single fucking topic today is like roped into every single other fucking topic. Like if somebody goes into, and I admit I do this too, like if somebody,
He admits he does it too. I admit I do this too.
if somebody's like, oh, did you get like a COVID vaccine? And they're like, no. And it's like, okay, well, if you did get the COVID vaccine, like I can already guess like 35 different political beliefs about you. If you didn't get the
Mm-hmm. This is structured differently. Everything is politicized. Everything is politicized. Every topic. And then example, vaccine mandates. Where you stand on one. I admit to this too. Should have put that in there. In a debate, you're not going to that's a concession. Would you concede in a debate? Would you say such things? I do it too. Things like that. Would you really? You're probably not going to have that kind of language in a debate, unless it's to illustrate a certain point that makes the other person look bad. So, in a debate, this would concession a loss. Here, it saves space. It socializes the discussed. Love it. Okay, let's go.
the COVID vaccine, I can also guess like 35 different political
Mhm.
beliefs about you. And it's all encompassing to areas of life. Like for a lot of pro-vaccine people, you probably think the Ukrainian war is bullshit. You might even side more with Russian values than us. You're probably like,
So vaccine mandate. Pro-vaccine equals pro-Ukraine.
a Trump or maybe a DeSantis.
Hate Trump. Slash support DeSantis. Okay, he's just illustrating these things. I think it would have been good to note that. I guess I just lost interest.
The supporter. You probably are like pro red pill, pro matrix. You probably support Andrew Tate. You probably think
You know what? Let's do that. Let's do this in a line. Pro-vaccine equals pro-Ukraine equals. Actually, let's put it like this, not in a line like this. Pro-Ukraine. That's this way. I'm definitely diagramming more than I thought, but it's not because I find this diagram to be that bad. Okay, I'm still impressed with this. Go past Kitty. Okay, I'm just want to improve on you. Improve. Okay, DeSantis. What else is there? I've got to come back after the shower. That's okay. I was not interesting enough for that. That's fine. When did the train go off the rails? It has not gone off the rails. The room isn't on fire. Don't worry. He's just discussing how he's discussing online discourse that all societal issues get poured into the trans stuff. So he's expanding on a Blair point.
think that there's you might
So
if you didn't get the COVID vaccine, I can also guess like 35
of how if you have one view on something, you probably have certain views on another. And he's admitting that he does this. He ascribes political views to people based on one key issue that they have.
different political beliefs about you, and it's all encompassing to areas of life. Like for a lot of pro-vaccine people, you probably think the Ukrainian war is bullshit. You might even side more with Russian values than us. You're probably like a Trump or maybe a DeSantis supporter. You probably are like pro red pill, pro matrix. You probably support Andrew Tate. You probably think that there's too much censorship on the like there's like 50. And then on the left, you can also say the same thing where it's like, oh, like you're super pro-vax. You probably wanted mask mandates. You probably wanted shutdowns to last longer. You're probably
Wait, hold up. Sorry, not pro-Ukraine. Pro-vaccine against vaccine. Sorry, anti-vaccine is against Ukraine. Against Ukraine equals hate Trump. What? Hold on. How do you say this?
super same thing matrix. You probably or maybe probably think the Ukrainian and it's all encompassing to areas of life. Like for a lot of pro-vaccine people, you probably think the Ukrainian war is bullshit. You might even side more with Russian values than us. You're probably like a Trump or maybe a DeSantis supporter. You probably are like pro red pill, pro matrix. You probably support Andrew Tate. You probably think that there's too much censorship on.
You probably support Andrew Tate. Like that is really quite a leap to take. If you're a normie, I support a normie. If you're just most people online, I understand where he's coming from, but I already know people that were anti-vaccine have a completely different view of Russia, Ukraine, and maybe they don't care about Trump. These things are definitely not they're not equal, but this is what you do. Support Andrew Tate.
On the, like there's like 50, and then on the left, you can also say the same thing where it's like, oh, like you're super pro-vax. You probably wanted mask.
So if you pro-vaccine is equal to pro-mask mandates.
Mandates. You probably wanted shutdowns to last.
Pro-shutdown.
Longer. You probably don't even like Biden. You really supported Bernie or something.
Bernie or Biden supporter.
Somebody or AOC. There's like, yeah, that over politicization of everything. You keep
he isn't making the point that everyone moves that, but that people tend towards this position. No, the thing is, people tend to associate these positions together. I know he's not saying that everybody has these things. Everybody moves from one to the other. It's just that these tend to cluster together. Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned earlier is that people don't seem to want to have like a nuanced conversation. Or people.
Okay, that's another thing that I didn't put in there. People, did I do it? Seems there's no one willing. There you go, to take the middle ground, because okay, and this using also referring back to Blair mentioned before. Okay, so I'm going to go and find that. Come with me. People don't want to have a nuanced discussion. There we go. Difficult for people to find productive discussions. So again, we are patting each other on the back. We're reaching out and going, "Ah, heard." Okay, collaboration. These things are not present usually in debates. So this is not a debate. Okay, very nice collaboration. Okay.
People don't want to seem to have any middle ground. It's because there is no middle ground when the little niche topic that you're fighting about is actually like a battleground for every single fucking issue in society, you know? Yeah.
But what's so crazy is, like, at the risk of sounding like a fucking hypercentrist or something, for me, every time I reach like a rational conclusion about what should be done with the trans issue and how to find common ground, it's always like almost directly in the middle. So for example, let's move on to like children transition.
Okay, so I think I would reword this as Blair tends towards centrism on the trans issue. Centrist slander. I like how he's complaining about people radicalizing while he's saying that he associates wildly different positions, some of which are radical and some which are not. He is part of the discourse. He is. He's part of the problem. Okay, so.
Mhm.
So for me, the rational middle ground opinion. So for me, it's directly in the middle. So for example, let's move on to like children transitioning. So for me,
In the middle, example, this is how it goes. Example, kids transitioning. In Blair world, not for kids. Let adults do what they want.
me, the rational middle ground opinion that in my ideal Blair world would make everyone like happy is that let adults do what the fuck they want, and kids, it's not a space for kids, is the transitioning, medically at least. I mean, I have less of an issue with social transitioning, but medically transitioning, I think that once that became sort of like the trans conversation, that was when everything started to go downhill because there's so many holes you fall in when you start talking.
Kids transitioning, this should be here. Everything went downhill. Example, kids transitioning from this. From this point. Paste style, and we will change to the pink. Okay.
About how kids can consent to medical intervention when they say that they're trans. I think that maybe not now, honestly, because things have just gotten so like negative about even trans adults who aren't harming anyone. But there was a point where I think that there was an overwhelming majority amount of people in the country who were like, I don't care what adults do, just like leave kids out of it. And now it's become to support trans people, you have to support the idea that children can get these surgeries and these medications. Otherwise, you don't support them. And then on the other side, it's like, actually, we're just going to rid the rights of all of these people because it's just going so overboard, which is funny because you see that with like the abortion thing too. I know a lot of people have these discussions who are like, you know, I was like so down.
This should say this relates. This relates to the abortion example.
For early term abortion until you started realizing that these people actually want like abortions in the 9th month. And then
that was one of my huge mind changes things. I realized that is actually something people were arguing for. And people go, that's not happening. You know, that circle, that diagram that is lovely. It's nice and short and sweet where it goes, it's not happening. Okay, maybe it is happening. It is, and then it goes, it is happening. That's good. No, it's not happening. Like, it's just a circle that you just keep going. And that's a good thing, is a nice conclusion that happens nowadays, and that's a good thing.
And it's like, why give them an inch when they take a mile? I kind of feel like the same thing happened, especially considering like when I started my transition, like I said, almost a decade ago, the trans kid stuff was, you could point to like a few cases in Sweden and be like, oh, wow, that's some crazy shit. And now it's like.
Okay, I think kids transitioning is right now, it's a pipeline in America. So it could be like Sweden, rare case in Sweden. Okay.
A whole pipeline happening.
I think that's fine. That's a good enough summary. It doesn't have to be. Why won't system change your think? I will not change my think.
In the US. And I think that's where most people have the issue, no?
Yeah. I mean, like the abortion thing is such a good carryover because like you can fight about abortion.
Okay, and he goes, yeah. I'm gonna have the yeah. And I think actually at one stage I did actually compare this this debate to, well, this conversation to another one where literally you could just do it like this. You could zoom out and just see how there's enough pink, there's pink, then blue, then pink, then blue, then pink, then blue. Everybody has their own chance to talk about stuff. And then if you go into a proper debate diagram, everybody's all over the place because nobody is cooperating to get their points out. Everybody is just waiting to hitch on and get a gotcha. Okay. And I don't know, I feel like you could still have a debate in a sort of collaborative manner through active listening, where you could say, so this is your point. Instead of so you're saying and then straw manning, you should do so you're saying and be correct. So don't Kathy Newman, but do say so you're saying. And then I guess you also are you're relying on your opponent or your partner in the debate, your opposition in the debate. You're relying on them to be good faith. So when you lay out somebody's position as they gave it to you, and then they shift the goalpost, that leaves you with nothing but contention. You keep trying to be collaborative, and eventually, because someone keeps weaving and winding through and changing the goalpost, it doesn't get to this nice collaborative space. Does it seem like Destiny's being slightly less combative and it could just be what I see though? No, I think it is. It is. He is calmer because it's like, oh, we agree on more things than we disagree on, and they are conversing. He's relaxing. I think.
Like, listen, we should probably only have like first trimester abortions. Okay, I think if we do that, I think most people can agree, and then conservatives will point out that like, well, some.
Okay, so yeah.
People on the we do that. I think like you can fight about abortion. Like, listen, we should.
Yeah, I think that's where most people have the issue. No.
Yeah. I mean, like the abortion thing is.
This is actually making me go like, wow. We are on. Okay, guys, look, we are how many? We're 2 hours 12 minutes in, and we've gone over 17 minutes of this video, which is it's a slow pace, but it's better than any diagramming pace I've done, and that does make me have hope for future debate diagrams where I will be pre-diagramming, and then making a video instead of just live diagramming it. Although I enjoy live diagramming, don't worry. The thing is, I will be spending my time doing the diagrams in bulk beforehand, and then we can go over it in this manner in a live stream, or I just go and make a video about it. So yeah, it's progress item. Hey Nobor, what is up? We're revisiting one of my favorite debates. Guys, pre-diagramming, what's next? Post-diagramming? That's what we're doing. We're post-diagramming here. The pre and post diagram. Oh my goodness. Okay. I've actually, you know what I've just decided? Somebody clip it because I'm gonna forget. That what I will die, because one of Gray's suggestions is redo a diagram and compare it. So do a diagram, redo the diagram, and compare the two and see how they overlap. So I'm thinking what I will do is I'll do Warren Smith's method. Because I've been wanting to diagram that, and it's a few minute video. So I will diagram that as my next diagram. And then in a month's time, I have to go and re-diagram it without looking at it. So I'm not allowed to go and look back at the diagram. I have to go watch the video, re-diagram it, and then this in the stream, what I'll do is bring them both up and see if I got the same thing. Because what you're trying to see is whether I understood it the same way both times, if I explained it better one way or another. I think that's cool. I'll comment that on the stream after it's over, so you have a reminder. Thanks, Atom. I really appreciate that. trans debates. That's a hot topic. That, you know what? They're not even on the hot topic yet. You should look into diagramming the Trent Horn debates. It's such a good layout for mostly good faith debates on both sides. I appreciate that the good faith suggestions. If you haven't put it in the Discord, please do. I'm going to go to the backlog of suggestions. I'm actually going to work out a schedule of what I want to do. But then you see things come up, like people have debates, and then I have to diagram before interest fades. But in between, I must do the ones that the actual audience that I do have is interested in. So yeah, thank you for the suggestion, because I want to see what a good faith one is, what a bad faith one is. Yeah. Anyway, that concludes our break. Let's continue. Okay.
It's such a good carryover because like you can.
He also I'm going to say put here as well. Such the abortion. I'm going to actually do it. You did put it in there. Yeah. Okay. And it's the one with Destiny. You did say that. I do remember you and I said thank you for it. Eaten, I'm no longer hangry. Well, I'm so glad. Welcome. Have you drunken? Okay. The abortion. I'm just putting this to denote agreement. Like you see, there is a positive. He's giving a positive feedback. Positive statement. What she said before. You don't get that in a debate. I actually made dinner for the family tonight and I didn't burn anything. So that's oh, well done. That is a W. What did you make, Nobor? I made chicken chicken breast that was not actually bad, and some nice veggies as well. So I'm also proud. We are cook maxing. Success, Nobor, says Item. Okay.
Fight about abortion, like, listen, we should probably only have like first trimester abortions. Okay, I think if we do that, I think most people can agree.
Should probably only have first trimester abortion.
And then conservatives will point out that, like, well, some people on the
most people would agree. Let's put that there. Look, except for the literal right to life people. Anyway.
on the left will defend third trimester abortions, and then it feels like there's so many people on the left that are willing to defend that. But then at the same time, you know, we'll be like, third trimester abortions are incredibly rare. It's like less than 1% of all abortions are third trimester abortions. Like, why would you even die on this hill?
Why would you die on this hill? They are rare. It's not even about their rarity. It's that they're heinous.
And also, my understanding is the majority of third trimester abortions are medically necessary anyway. So, like, they're probably going to get them regardless. It's not like generally a doctor won't force you to carry a child to term if it's going to kill you. So, like, why stake out the most extreme position where now you've gotten rid of, now the whole abortion debate is like up for grabs in terms of like getting rid of abortion completely, because you wanted to die on the hill of like the less than 1% people that want third trimester abortions. Right. Yeah, it's so dumb. I feel like,
yay, there's people on the left who support abortion after 9 months. Extremes are in fact extreme. There are people that do that. But the purity test is 9 months instead of, can we just argue for for first trimester, please? Can we please? In this, they've identified this. In summary, they've identified this mechanism in social discourse of the extremes. We fight for, so first they looked at the trans issue, where it's like you have to go to your genitals place, your genital based bathroom, right? And that's it. We can't argue for a middle road. So what Blair brought up is, yeah, people just people are arguing for or actually not even Blair brought it up, the way that Destiny explained it was like this 300-pound burly man trying to go to the girls' bathroom. People are trying to argue for him to be accepted. And this is another parallel. So they're identifying that everybody's always arguing for the extremes. And I think these two people here are actually in the middle, but the tribalism makes everybody put them into a purity test and say, oh well, Blair is conservative, she's right wing, she's trans Hitler, she's the worst thing for LGBT. And I suppose on the left, I don't know, there are leftists that don't like Destiny because he speaks to people like Blair. But you know, it has then again, the people that are currently still upset with Destiny are also kind of upset with him because he seems to really hate the people that he's spoken to. In reality, just in terms of how unhinged he got with the person who was shot at the Trump rally. But we don't have to get into that. Don't worry. Don't have to get into it. We both had chicken breasts, guys. You know that joke? What if chickens had nipples? Just think about that. Anyway, I don't mean that this is a mad way, but it's odd that Destiny's political talk is very tactical. Like it's about what you can achieve with a particular act, not what is underpinning it morally. Yeah, that is something that people are uncomfortable with Destiny, I think. It is that he's actually quite a politician because he's trying to find the thing that people will agree with and trying to change people's mind in the quickest and easiest way possible. He wants to take the path of least resistance rather than say this is the right path. And that is a purity test that he fails for some people. They want him to only take the path that is right, not the path that is most easily convinced, most easily given to another side. So Atom, I was just actually talking about your comment here about saying that it's odd that Destiny political talk is very tactical, like it's about what you can achieve with a particular act, not what is underpinning it morally. What I was saying there is that Destiny, this is something that people don't like about Destiny because they want him to be giving an opinion because it's the right opinion, not because it's the easiest one to convince the most people about. They find it a little bit disingenuous, a little bit sneaky. They don't know what he truly believes. They're just like, this seems to be the easiest thing for him to say, so he'll stick with this. I know, I see what you're talking about there. Destiny was banned from Twitch because of his trans takes. I say Destiny is cognitively distant about his position in general. I think, well, one of the accusations as well, Congo, that people throw at Destiny, and I'm sure I've thrown it at him as well, is in certain situations, he will be arguing certain points and then he changes, he seems to swap it around, or at least from my point of view, the rhetoric that he uses in one situation, I understand one conversation is different to another, but he can get really ugly and horrible and bad faith in order to get his way in a certain debate, as opposed to, like, if he's capable to do something like this, why can't he always do it? But that's obviously because not everybody is Blair as well. And when you're doing this debate bro blood sports, it's not really worth, it's not what people are there to watch. So, and he knows he's an entertainer. Hello, he's not successful for nothing. He's the reason people watch him take notes and research stuff is because of the way he acts. There's a practical side to making decisions and arguments that'll get things done. Yes, literally practical. But to some degree, it does feel weird when his positions feel unclear. Yes, that's what people don't like about him. and some people are okay with it and comfortable with it and think that's just him. Well, they perceive that as just pragmatism. He's pragmatic. He's going with that. And that's actually honesty. Some people don't see his shiftiness as dishonesty, while as others are like, no, he's just being pragmatic, and also he's being a content creator. And again, this is an individual. Do you like him? Do you not? Would you speak to him? Would you not? That's it. You don't have to like him. Guess what? You don't have to like him, and you don't have to dislike him either. He's not Hitler. Because over time it becomes clearer what his positions are. It just feels kind of slimy when he's willing and able to make good arguments for positions he doesn't actually hold. Yeah, it's very strange. Destiny's opinions are wholly his own. His opinions are consistent. His rhetoric changes depending on the person on the other side. Exactly. And people don't like people will find, some people find that disingenuous, and other people find it endearing. Other people say, haha, that works. So it just depends who you are and what you think. For me, I've just not been a fan of that. But I do find it very entertaining when he runs his mouth. It's just incredible. So
on here's where I fall on the kid thing. So one issue,
he falls on the kid thing. Kidding. So people on the left, the third trimester abortion, cool. We had dying on this hill, okay. Where I stand on the kid thing, cool. I think that's a good enough thing. Chris, stop being shitty about his wife, okay?
Here are a couple things that are, I believe, to be true. And if people want to fight on these grounds, I'm okay with it. They just have to be honest about fighting on these grounds. So one,
okay, they just have to be honest about fighting on these grounds. See, that's the kind of thing that people will throw against Destiny, is that he's not being honest about where he's fighting.
I believe that trans people are real. When I say trans people are real, I mean that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's environmental, I don't know if it's biological, like all things, it's probably some mix of the two. By the time somebody starts going through puberty, they can get an idea in their head that their body, for some reason, the sex of their body is not matching the sex of their brain seems to have of their body. So things like the way they carry fat, how broad their shoulders get, the sound of their voice, like all of these things will cause an intense discomfort. If that is real, and I think it's real, or at least insofar as many trans people I've talked to, and the fact that we can't seem to talk people out of it or convert people out of it, it seems to be real. If that's true.
Well, I promise you it's real.
Yeah.
I think that's a cute thing. Collaborate to make a joke. Okay, just putting in the 100%.
No, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm being as charitable as possible. Yeah. If that is the case, here's another fact, okay? Trans men are generally okay, even if they transition as a woman, because being like a more kind of like effeminate man and then growing facial hair, you generally be okay. Most people aren't going to question you from what I've seen. Like generally, you don't have as much of a problem passing. Trans women, depending on your male puberty, can have a really hard time passing. Some people will have very broad shoulders, very deep voice, lots of masculine, very masculine bone structure, very masculine features. If that's the case, man, it fucking sucks if you are 12, 13, 14, because especially by the time you start going through puberty, you're going to start to feel that dysphoria setting in. And if you're like, fuck me, I have to go through this whole puberty before I can even get any kind of medical intervention, I'm fucked. That's where I become a little bit empathetic, not a little bit, I'm very sympathetic, I should say, towards like trans women. So now the issue, so what I would say, obviously in an ideal world, puberty blockers would be available for people that are going through puberty and might have questions. But then the issue comes up as we have to have really difficult and honest conversations.
This usually upsets me when people like, we have to have difficult and honest conversations. Like, we're in the honest and difficult conversation right now. So good point, continue, start them. Start having that. That is what we're doing right now. A lot of people, I'm not saying that that's exactly what he's doing, but people usually, I don't know if they've heard this in other discourse, and then they say, we need to have this conversation. Politicians do it as well. It's like, we're having it right now. So shut up about this. We need to have it. Go into the difficult parts. So just also what I'm noting, just considering what we've just spoken about with Destiny, he is talking about what is the easiest way. Well, we were talking about him going for the path of least resistance, and this is actually this seems to be where he's coming from on this issue with the kids. It's just the fact that going through male puberty makes it really, really tough for you to transition afterwards. So you know what? It'll be easier. It'll be easier on the real trans kids if they transitioned earlier. But what I would agree with, and that's what Blair would say, is that there is more harm done if you start pipelining children into transitioning. The effects on there is actually no real benefit. You are still making this life-changing thing, life-changing decision, and there are the side effects and things like that. That it's not actually on average a better way to go about it. But that's what I think the difficult conversation has to be, is that, listen, having a trans kid does mean that your kid is going to have a difficult life. It means that that person is going to have a difficult life. A trans person has a difficult life. Can you? They have it. That is one of the things with Buck Angel and the rest of the based trans people, is that they're like, listen, it is a mental disorder. It's not normal. It's not supposed to be this way. It is a struggle. That doesn't mean we must stigmatize it. It just means that it is something different. And yeah, it's difficult no matter what. You can't normalize it to the point that it will be easy. It's not going to be easy. But that obviously doesn't mean now that we must make it difficult as well. There is a definitive pipeline. No, there is. It's actually become worse. This is a year ago. It has not slowed down. Well, I guess it hasn't slowed down in America, but the pipelines were up and running in like the UK, etc., and now they've now shut them down in Europe. So the US is still sitting there. I don't know. People are waiting for the court cases to take effect. If you're coming into this, you should know what you're in for exactly. I'm not concerned about him behaving differently so much as his position seemingly changing. Like, sure, you don't talk the same way to everyone. Yeah. But what you believe shouldn't be changing. Yeah. But the thing that I can say is that just I would need to have an exact example of him changing his position from one conversation to the next. And I can't point to that yet. I'm sure it's there. But I know for sure that his tone is his tone itself. And I know that we just said it, you speak to people differently, and according to who you're talking to, you'll behave differently. But the use of good faith does, you kind of want that to be consistent. You want that to be consistent because the act of good faith means you're a certain kind of person and you think a certain kind of way. And when somebody just railroads, and when you know they're capable of deep thought, you're like, what's happening? You feel kind of cheated. That's what I feel with Destiny a lot of the time, is that I know he can articulate himself really well, and he can think, but then other times he's just gonna go off, and I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. So that's just where I stand with it. If his position never changes without researching or having really good reason to, and that's another thing. Having changed your mind about something is not a concession or whatever, or a loss or an L or whatever. You take that with grace. If you have been wrong about something, take it with grace. Yeah. Let's go.
About what trans healthcare looks like and what those types of therapy or gender talks look like, because it can't be relentless affirmation. It can't just be like, I think you have a problem, here are the drugs. There has to be an effective way of figuring out, because I think even you would agree, if you can know, so this is a really good litmus test for conservative people, or people who disagree with me. If we could figure out 100%.
I know, I also agree with this. If we could, but we can't. We can't. And Blair's position would be, we're not sacrificing everybody's children to find out, which is what's happening. We're basically doing what happened with lobotomies, where we're just going and fucking around in people's brains, and then we'll see if it works. Oh, it worked for one person over there. Cool, let's continue. Let's fuck around in people's brains until, you know, the lobotomy is totally a thing. That's we don't want to do that. And I'm with her on that. You don't want to fuck shit up. Find another one.
Who is trans now and who will always be trans, then trans healthcare for children should be okay, right? If you knew 100%. The issue comes in identifying who those children are and not pushing children into it who wouldn't otherwise be trans, right? Or
okay, so this is one of the biggest disagreements, I suppose, that we're doing, because there's no yeah, there is a pause and a interesting. There you go. I somewhat disagree. So what do we do for a disagree? There are no entry sign, exclamation point. Let's go here. Disagreement. Bring me the goddamn legend. That's annoying. The legend should follow me around, Xmount. Symbol exclam is disagree. Okay. Should the state pay? That is how the pipeline becomes state funded. I don't watch that much Destiny stuff, so I'll be willing to admit that any changes is in position of don't have full context. Yeah, same. Okay. And it might seem like you asked for the legend, I'm here. Hey. The thing is, you're supposed to follow around, okay? If I move around the map, you come with me. Okay. Okay. I somewhat disagree. I will say, yeah, she didn't say no, yeah. Instead, uses an
I disagree somewhat, because I've often made like a similar argument that, well, if there was a way to do it other than like a fucking dice roll, then like whatever. But also, I feel like there are so many issues when you transition young that people don't talk about. For example, you look at Jazz.
Okay, even if there was a way to do a brain scan and figure out who would be trans and who would grow out of it, she's against it. Being trans is highly nuanced mental illness. There are so many issues with transitioning no one talks about. Example, Jazz Jennings. So we're here with the Jazz Jennings. Underwent ideal process for young transition, puberty blockers and hormone replacement, then surgeries. This means not having grown enough of a penis to create a neo-vagina. That is a huge thing that people forget about it. Loss of sensation, infertility. Yeah, it's bad. Again, that's my point, is that having anybody go through gender dysphoria and having the disorder, it's a big deal. It's a tough thing to have. And that is why the suicide rates are high. Oh, it's society. It's like, even if society just accepts it, it's still an internal struggle that somebody is going through. You're still in the wrong body. Hello? Like, that's anyway. Okay.
Jennings, sort of like the poster child for children transitioning, had the reality show, was in the mainstream media since she was like 4 or 5, as an example of a transgender child. So she underwent sexual reassignment surgery as a teenager and was on hormone blockers, puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy, did like the step 1, 2, 3, like exactly by the book. And because of that, it actually made the surgery incredibly dangerous and a huge list of complications, because she never developed a sizable penis.
I actually do want to also put in here, sorry, as one of the first things she says is, I used to make similar arguments. Again, this is a kind of you kind of bringing yourself down, or you're admitting, making a sort of concession to say, hey, you're socializing being wrong about something and changing your mind. So you won't really, unless somebody's just being non-combative, you'll get a phrase like this: I used to make similar arguments. Oh, I used to think like you. That sort of thing. That kind of is a friendly fire thing. It's like, I'm agreeing with you. I agreed with you once. I once held that view. Therefore, I can't judge you as harshly as I would judge, I don't know, as you think I might judge you. So I don't know. It's let's put that as the statement softens the disagreement. Having thought what she will explain is having thought incorrectly. Yeah. Friendly disarm. I like that. Hada Haas. Friendly disarm. Okay.
To actually turn into a neovagina. So even if the idea is that these surgeries are, you know, let's say the child is 100% guaranteed, like we went inside the brain and we see that shit, it's like it still poses problems.
Taking Jazz on as a patient for surgery, we knew it was going to be a one-of-a-kind surgery. She's one of the first to have undergone complete pubertal suppression and lack of growth of the skin and other tissues, which we rely on as surgeons to do this operation. I was just not expecting her to have a complication as severe as what she did have.
I feel like I've already lost the aesthetics, you know. Hopefully after this revision, it'll look good once it heals.
I think Jazz Jennings has put on even more weight now.
But if I lose some of my sensation and nerve endings, I might never experience an orgasm.
And you can, you know, improve the healthcare, I guess, or do the puberty blockers in a different way. But I think that gender dysphoria is something that is so, it's such a nuanced mental disorder, and you can't even call it that anymore, which is like also such a huge problem.
So have I written that down? You know, it's mental illness, not even allowed to call it in in some circles, sometimes even a requirement or to be trans. Yeah, it's all just an identity. It's all just a label that you can put on yourselves. And I don't know, back in my day, we was against labels. We were like, oh no, I hate them labels. Don't call me a punk. Don't call me a goth. Oh no, don't label me. And now you're trying to act like these identities are just aesthetics that you can just name in the same way.
And they're eroding the idea that that's even a prerequisite to being trans.
Yeah.
That I don't think I would just say that even if we knew, we would sign off. Because for me, as an example, you know, my earliest memories in life are that of gender dysphoria, and this is where a lot of people on like.
So don't even require mental illness. I only figured I don't need genital surgery to become an adult. I understand earliest memory of gender dysphoria, but that doesn't change how I feel or of gender about transitioning children. Having dysphoria doesn't have anything to do with my ability to consent to life non-medicalization. God, she is spitting. I only figured out I don't need genital surgery to become an adult. When you put a kid on that path at 11, 12, it's assumed / automatic. I understand the concern about passing, but I can't get past the idea of yeah. This I think covers her point.
Leftist YouTube and leftist Twitter try to point some sort of hypocrisy on me. Like Blair was on Joe Rogan talking about how she experienced gender dysphoria at 5, but wants to hold the ladder up for other trans kids. I don't think that has anything to do with my ability to consent to lifelong medicalization, because once you're on it, on these drugs, you are on them forever. You
Mhm.
don't stop unless you're actually detransitioning. And
Yeah.
then there's a whole other list of problems you have from that. To, you know, sterilization.
I think it's important to have body child is assumed. I think here it doesn't have anything to do with my consent. Lifelong, these drugs are lifelong unless you're detransitioning. So yeah, she has she just mentions detransitioning, which I think is important to have in the diagram, the word which has it has further complications. Okay, let's do that. Come star. Okay, keep going.
To anything permanent that would alter the look of my body. And what you mentioned before about the passing, it's like, I understand that that's a concern for most, I would say, real trans people. But I can't get past the idea of prioritizing passing or aesthetics or appearance over fertility. And also the fact that,
I
you
literally
know,
added
for
them.
me, not to get super fucking graphic, but, and the reason I'm bringing up me is because I know this is like a very common thing, is that it took me until a couple years into my transition, for which I started as an adult, to even understand that like genital surgery was not something that I needed to be okay. Like I needed to sort of like figure that out.
Yeah.
And so the idea is like when you put that kid on the path starting at like age 11, 12, 13, it's like, I don't know, setting them on that path automatically, I think is very problematic.
Sure. So I won't necessarily.
Okay, so he said sure. Okay, he said sure. I don't like the way that I did this over here. Sure, it should be boo. We downvoting because didn't do it nicely. Or oh no, it's not. Sorry, never mind. That's not the thing. This is the next one. It's hormones, not surgery. But again, we didn't go sure. Sure. So it's a bit of a disagreement. I think he goes.
Disagree with you. So I
think is very problematic.
Sure. So I won't necessarily disagree with you. So I
won't necessarily disagree. He won't necessarily disagree with her. Also said that very fast. Not comfortable with having people hear that. Scared of people getting upset with him agreeing with Blair there. Sure, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Let's see what he does. It's somewhat of a, it's not 100%. It's like, I'm going to put this here. I agree. Okay.
Honest to God, most trans people I talk to, I don't know if I know anybody that's had sex reassignment surgery. I feel like most trans women I talk to are okay having the feminine dick.
He is definitely not politically correct. He literally said okay with having the feminine dick. And he knows he's saying the bad term.
Having like not having like the full on
guy
bottom
smiles.
surgery just because that carries with it like so many.
Because he knows, like, also you're speaking to Blair, so I don't know. He's now ascribing this thing that like, hey Blair, you have a feminine dick. Yeah.
Any other having like not having like the trans women I talk to are okay having the feminine dick.
He says it quietly, in the feminine dick.
Having like not having like the full on bottom surgery just
She blinks.
because that carries with it like so many other problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Carries problems, yes. Okay, we've got that. Well done. I think I should have said. Should have used the necessarily. What? Here. Okay, sorry, I'm just talking about the structure of my thing. Cool. Most trans women I know haven't had it. Just feel okay. So this is the part that he's like the nuanced bit that he's not necessarily in line with.
So I guess typically when I'm talking about things for children, usually the fullest extent to what I'm talking about would just be hormones. So maybe puberty blockers.
So again, he's actually saying, yeah, well, puberty blockers, it's fine. But Blair has just said puberty blockers are just as bad. Having surgery is not the only problem. It's the whole pipeline. She has said that socially transitioning is okay. She would be okay with that. But hormone, no. Don't do anything medicalized. So this is his the part where he doesn't agree. Agree either. He's okay with hormones. Okay.
For some period of time, and then maybe starting HRT, or I don't know if it's called TRT if you're a trans man or whatever. But yeah, that would be the extent to what I would go for. I don't think there's ever a reason you don't need to do surgeries, top or bottom surgeries, or any type of surgery for somebody under the age of 18.
I guess that's his stance. That's his line. And one of the things we do with debate diagram is we say this is where his Destiny's line. Destiny's line is here, where hormones is okay, surgery not okay. Blair is like, you might as well just have the surgery if you're gonna think that hormones are okay. But go off, King.
I feel like having hormones there, if you're a trans woman going through a male puberty, depending on the type of body you have, is like it's irrevocable. Like you can never go back, depending on how.
So he's actually restating his point from here. Male puberty. Understands essentially someone feel they're born wrong. Okay. Need an effective way. It could. Where is it? Where is it that it's he has said it. Where he stands on the understands essentially someone can feel they are born. Trans women have more difficult there. That's it. So he's just restating. So he's going back. When you disagree, you can just go back and restate your opinion, because what do these two people do? Blair has drawn the line at doing anything to the body, medicalizing. She says, don't do that. That's her line. His line is, you can do this bit of medicalization. Now, you can talk about the different things that have made you come to this conclusion, which is the little bits that we're looking at. But that is it. They're not going to agree. Unless Destiny goes, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe HRT is just as bad as surgery. He could do that. But at that point, you're just showing your work, showing your notes and saying, this is what I think. And then the other person says, this is what I think. And you guys disagree and we move on. And then the viewer, millions of them that these two have, the viewers get to have their own opinions as well. They get to maybe be exposed to these points through this conversation, which is how eventually you'll end up changing your mind or reaffirming what you believe, which is kind of what I'm doing when I watch Blair. Okay, so reiterates previous point because still thinks, yeah. Previous point, there you go. Okay, just feel male puberty is revocable. repeat previous point because he hasn't moved on it. Still productive conversation. So look at their disagreement. It's a beautiful disagreement. They just got, here's what I'd say, this is what you say. That's what I like in my, when I listen to people debating online. I prefer that. Although, yes, the blood sports can be very entertaining. Let's not lie. Let's not act like I have no animal instincts and no tribalism in myself. But when it comes to this, I enjoy it. I enjoy how how they collaborate to not hate on each other. It's cool. Was Blair trans before going through puberty? And if so, can still be called male? Can it still be called male puberty? Blair had gender dysphoria before puberty, but did go through puberty. She went through puberty as a male. It's still male puberty because her body was male, then fully male, no hormones, nothing. It was at the state of male, and then she started transitioning afterwards. I think she was about 19, so she was pretty young, but yeah, it's she was an adult when that happened, and she made the decision not to get genital surgery as an adult, which it's, if you're a kid, it seems like that's where you're going. You're just on your way there. That's just the pipeline is there. It's like, oh, well, you're going to get this package. We'll give you the full package, which is your hormone replacement and your new neo vagina. Like, yeah, still male. Yes, and she will say it. She says I love the way she speaks. She goes like, I'm a whole tranny, she'll say. And she'll also go, will refer to her dick and balls. She will say that. But she won't say kiss the feminine penis or something shitty like that. She'll just say, stop it. Stop pretending I don't have that. She did well, she did speak about it. She did actually just she did bring it up. She went here. She said some of the earliest memories, some of her earliest memories are of gender dysphoria. So the first, like if you think back to your first memory, maybe it was like, for me, I think mine's just like looking at a packet of sugar or something. Hers have a bit more to do with gender dysphoria. So she can tell you for sure this has been there for a long time. But she has said having dysphoria doesn't have anything to do with my ability to consent to lifelong medicalization. So her line is medicalization. Okay. Hey, Instance. That is okay. You're here. Leave a like if you're so inclined. Pretend that, just imagine a great stream. That's what it's been, okay? You don't have to go back. Don't have to go back and catch up. Just leave the like. Sorry, I'm late. Hey, guys, Sketches. Hi, good to see you. Could you catch me up on real quick? Okay, well, what we've done this stream is we have revisited our diagram of the Destiny versus Blair debate, and it's not so much a debate; it's actually a conversation. But they do disagree. So what we're doing is adding to the original with these little squiggly things. If there's an edit, I put it in with this formatting, this like these lines, these squiggly lines. So things that I've missed, and then also the commentary I've added in here. So yeah, I've just added to the diagram. I will republish it and share it. This is a very long thing. It's just what I wanted to do was go through why I enjoyed it and whether it still holds up. And so far, 3 hours in, it really does still hold up as one of my favorite conversations because there is space for everybody to have their opinion in it. And if you're a person that thinks one way or the other, you are being exposed. You're being desensitized to the opposite opinion, you're seeing how people can talk to each other and not kill each other when they disagree, which is exactly what we've gotten to here. So we've just gotten to, in this point, they've spoken about whether they are for kids transitioning or not, and they disagree on how far you should go with a child transitioning. So he says that hormones are okay, but surgery is not. Blair, on the other hand, says there is just no way that no medicalization, you can socialize them, maybe. Interesting. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. It's like blood sports, but without the blood. It's very sporting. Yes, that's exactly it. Okay. Okay, so yeah, still productive conversation. Cool. So he's saying Destiny's point is that, look, it's more utilitarian to just not let them go through puberty, because you'll look more like a man if you go through male puberty, and then your transition will be more difficult. But Blair is like, no, even the fact is you're messing with a child's hormones too early on.
Broad you get doing that. But I mean, I would agree that like the surgeries are definitely too much for children. Yeah.
Okay, so he even restates. He restates that, however, restates. I agree. Surgery too far for children. So he's given one bit of agreement and one bit of disagreement. Okay. And literally he used the word agree. So we are going to put the 100.
Yeah, and I guess that.
And you see, look, there's pause because, like, look, I had a whole talk. What do you have to say about my speech, Blair? Okay. What's happening with my timing here? This one, considering how it goes wrong, mainstream Democrat. Ideally, okay, this looks like it's in the wrong order. Let's see what happens.
That's like the issue for me, because it is the mainstream Democrat position that this is the right standard of care for these kids and this is the right thing to do. And
So look, I've colored this wrong. This is what Blair is saying. Blair said this. Kitty colored wrong. Okay.
and that people shouldn't have any say in that. And then if the
People shouldn't have any say in that. Am I going to have to change all this to squiggly lines? I think so. Because I changed the color. It's to show that there is a difference in the previous ones. Yeah, exactly. His issue is the long-term repercussions. His issue is that the long-term repercussions of he is actually against the long-term repercussions of puberty itself. The long-term repercussion of going through puberty is making your transition more difficult. Whereas Blair says, no, it's not even that. It's difficult no matter what. And making medicalizing it is not, it's not actually going to make it any easier. Yeah, the hormones do cause long-term repercussions. Or is it the severity of those? Yeah, exactly. I would be interested to see how are those not equally severe? You know, on like at least equally severe. How are they not at least the same, equally undesirable because of the long-term effects? I'm with you on that. I would like to know. Though they do, they definite puberty blockers literally do have long-term repercussions. But hey, the main line at some point was also, oh, they're reversible. They're absolutely reversible. So you can just put the pause button. It's just putting the pause button, and it's fine. No, it's not. It's not. It does not work that way. Shock horror. What are we talking about? We're talking about trans issues. We're revisiting a conversation that Blair had with Destiny a year ago. That's not how that works. That's not the meaning of reversible. Yeah. So, okay, so not so and also I realized that my editing was wrong. I put the wrong colors in. So oopsie poopsie. Okay, transitioning short, let's go.
Kid comes out as trans, that is the correct choice. And it's like, there's so many issues with that. Like you said earlier, it's like affirmative care. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have these, therapies that are wholly affirmative, but that's the reality. Like in Canada, they passed a law against conversion therapy, which, as with most laws, on the surface is going to sound great, but what it actually bans is a therapist from telling a patient, whether they're a minor or an adult, going in, they're not allowed to push back on the idea that that patient is trans. And so
that's crazy. Okay, that is insane. It's not actual conversion therapy that they're talking about. That they weaponize the religious version of conversion therapy, where they try and pray away the gay and all of that. They're using that as a misnomer, so that to make people feel as if that's what we're banning. No, you're banning a therapist questioning somebody. They must only affirm. That's the standard of treatment. Can you imagine if that's what you did with schizophrenia? Hello? Where somebody comes in and says the voices are speaking to me, and then your doctor says yes, they are. Everybody is after you. And I know that people that's just disingenuous, that's a straw man. No, really, ad absurdum does show the flaws in the logic. Okay, you can't offer positive healthcare because it's labeled as transphobic. And the point is, like, you need to be that needs to be really challenged. Like, again, I speak as a tomboy, okay? If I was born in America and had my configuration of brain as I was as a child, a little girl, I would totally be trans. I would have been fucked up completely because of this kind of thing. I didn't need therapy to make me go and think, okay, I'm a girl. I just needed to accept that I'm a girl, and that there are limitations to my body that men don't have. And I had to go through that. But what I really truly believe is that if I was a child in California, I would totally be a colorful child. The boy. Kitty O. When the psychiatrist asks you, do you hear voices, and a voice is telling you to say no. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. That's the suppressed pink hair. Yeah, I tried to do my hair purple once, but my hair was too dark. It didn't work, and I did not want to go all the way to bleaching it just to make it purple, so it didn't stick. Imagine I took puberty blockers at 11. Oh my god, it scares me. It scares me. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get to half an hour, guys, before the stream has to end. Let's see.
When that includes these kids, it's like, once these kids start on this path, they have every force in their life telling them that that's the correct path, and it just might not be the case. And, I think back to, I remember this very vividly. I remember when I first was considering transitioning, I was like, okay, so I probably should look at like who fucking regrets this. Like, does it go wrong? Is it always just this positive thing? And so I was looking up detransitioners and people who,
wow, so Blair looked up, I forgot about this, that Blair looked up detransitioners. Now, they were very rare in her day, but the fact is she even looked for them. Like, that was her approach, is, okay, is this right for me? How does this go wrong? Any surgery is like that. You are supposed to look up your complications and see cost-benefit analysis. Yeah, how could this go wrong is I feel is a question not enough people ask on a daily basis. I'm just saying that even real trans people are probably not thinking. Nobody wants to think in that way, because that's not manifesting, guys. That's manifesting bad, because you're going looking at how things go bad. And yes, at some point, when you look at the side effects of your freaking headache tablets and things, you will do nothing. But you do have to go, and for something as life changing, you have to do cost benefits analysis, see how it goes. Thank God Blair did that. Like, what can you imagine? Just there's so many of them that have gone through it and gone. Nobody told me that it was going to be this difficult. Nobody told me it was going to be like this. And you know what? It's the doctor's responsibility to be pushing that to you, to be making absolutely certain. But what they've made the doctor's responsibility over here is they've made it, no, sorry, honey. I mustn't say no. Absolutely. Go off, queen. Let's go. Here are your puberty blockers. Here are your hormone replacements. Here's your neo-penis. I suppose they call them that. Okay.
And then went out, and it was almost impossible to find anyone beyond like one or two like strange underground stories about it. Like, and it wasn't because it was being censored, it's because it wasn't really happening, because there were different standards of care even 10 years ago. And now you have an entire population of like detransitioners, and it's like, it's hard for me to see how people will see these positions as hateful, to just say leave it to just adults and not kids, or transphobic, when look at the harm that they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
does that make sense again? I'm gonna do that. Does that make sense? You don't usually get that in a debate. Does that make sense? I'm just adding to it. Like, it's not like there is another universe in which I did say, does that make sense? And then future Kitty is like, you didn't even need to note that. But anyway. Okay, collaboration, asking for feedback. Okay. His is different stories, right? We're getting to 30 minutes in. That's what we're doing.
Again, I understand, and that's why I'm uncomfortable with the way that, it's hard to talk about how we approach care now, because depending on where you look, you get totally different stories. I've spoken to
Okay, about care. When discussing care. Okay, I would also say that here also uses the word care. They are collaborating okay, cool. Earth 316 Kitty, yeah. She put that in. Back in the day, detransitioners rode in white vans, kidnapping the wild children of parishioners. Do you know this from experience, Rosales? Are you okay? Did you go in a van?
a few detransitioners that will say things like, yeah, if I basically went into a clinic, I gave them 2 symptoms, they said you're trans, they gave me hormones the same day. And like I've heard some detransitioners give that story. I've also seen people that are trans that are adults, so like people in the UK, for instance, were like, yeah, I've got my diagnosis, I went through my 12 different therapists, they all said this, and now I'm on a 3-year wait list for hormones. I don't know like what the average time is right now in the United States. Or what the average, like even standard of care is in the United States. Like, are therapists allowed to be as critical as they need to be? Is there too much affirmation? It's hard to know just because.
I should have said, I should have said as they need to be. Because that's a very important note to have. That's showing him adding, him saying as they need to be means that he agrees they need to be critical. That indicates added in as they need. Okay.
There's so many different stories that come out like all over the place. But yeah, I mean, I would say that in an environment, hopefully if we have an
NDA is in effect, ma'am. Okay, I won't push it.
environment where especially young people under the age of 18 are going to a therapist, like if they are trans, it has to be something that needs to be like critically evaluated, and there needs to be some challenging conversations that are figured out that's what's actually going on with the kid, especially in the case of like puberty blockers or anything else being prescribed. But
it sucks though, because we so don't have that, and it's like the amount of
Sucks we don't have that. Okay. I think this should have said something more. Expanding on what care in the US is like. So she is properly, it's these two are in expand. Again, look at the collaboration. They don't have to be saying exactly the same thing, but they feed off of each other's ideas and they expand off of them. They say, this is what I think about what you've said, basically.
of horror stories coming out. Like, have you heard of the whistleblower coming out? I believe it was St. Louis. There's a woman who like was working at a gender health clinic that was transitioning kids. And they were literally transitioning kids who come in and have like cat pronouns.
Washington University's transgender clinic at Children's Hospital is at the center of a whistleblower investigation. This woman claims children are being harmed.
One of the challenges for me, ethically and morally, in working in the center, is it kept feeling like we would almost set a red line, like there's no way they could go past this, right? There's like no way we're going to do this next case. And then the next thing you know, we're giving that next patient hormones too. It just kept feeling like the extremeness just there was no end in sight.
They were literally giving these kids drugs when they couldn't even like articulate a valid gender identity. And it's because, you know, like I mentioned, in Canada, they have like actual laws against pushing back on kids who claim that they are anything and everything. But in the States, I think it's more of like a social thing. Like there is a huge stigma against pushing back on it because it has to be validated. You see it in the school system as well. And so it's like, I just see the States going full steam.
I think I should do affirmation is rampant. Je ne sais pas, pipeline. What? I don't know what you said. I just thought I read it. Anyway. Paste. Whoopsie. And stigmatized. And questioning is stigmatized. That's hate. Okay. Let's put you as this. Bam.
Ahead, but then you have, I think it was just yesterday, the UK banned, the NHS banned puberty blockers for kids. So it's like,
yeah, or to be more precise,
see, bad coloring. She literally past Kitty put D to show Destiny says it actually only in a research setting now.
they've, I think along with a bunch of other countries, they've gone to making it so if you want to pursue this, it can only be done like in a research setting, essentially. It's no longer like the standard of care for children identified trans. Yeah.
No longer the standard. Okay. Of course. So it's not collaboration on establishing the facts. Not gotcha. See, that's another thing that you can get in these kinds of conversations is you can clarify something and say, actually, yeah, this is what I've seen. Not actually, but actually, that kind of tone.
The yeah, I think that something that you mentioned a couple other times, which has made these conversations so difficult, is it seems like people on
he references again something she has spoken about. Hey, look here. Look at you, Artem. This is a past item note. Item, I want to transition and I want to be seen transitioning on two different, very different situations. There's a past item. Would you like to comment on your comment? Let's see. Let's finish this bit and then we'll be done.
On the left don't really care
You were-
anymore
you
about
were
whether or
saying?
not there is like the fact of the matter if a person is trans, which has made these conversations so difficult. Is I think that some standard of care for
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
identifying as trans. Yeah, the yeah, I think that something that you mentioned a couple.
I'm going to put this something you mentioned. That is collaboration stuff. Collaboration. Okay. And your color. This.
Other times, which has made these conversations so difficult, is it seems like people on the left don't really care anymore about whether or not there is like the fact of the matter if a person is trans or not.
So this is actually going into the self-ID, which let's actually put this. Let's go back to self-ID here. Come with me. Where are we? There we go. He refers back. See how we collaborate? Oh, it's so beautiful. If a treatment is still so problematic that you can't use it on humans for actual medical care, wouldn't you just go back to using it on rats? I don't know if we can really I suppose we could do experiments and things on changing the sex of mammals. But yeah, in terms of the psyche, what we can learn about the psyche through rats. But yeah, you haven't earned that the human stuff yet. I'm with you there. Okay, so
But a lot of the conversation has kind of shifted over to this self-ID thing, which is it is. I was going to say in my opinion, but it's not about it. It's a totally incoherent and ridiculous position.
He was gonna say it was his opinion, but no. Okay. Well, I don't understand that. Hold on. What?
You can it is. I was going to say in my opinion, it was over to this self-ID thing, which is it is. I was going to say in my opinion, but it's not about it. It's a totally incoherent and ridiculous.
He's saying it's not just his opinion that it's incoherent. He's like, I was going to say it's my opinion, but actually it's not. I'm just fucking right.
Position that you can like ID as a thing and then you are that thing. Like that wouldn't work for any other category ever in the history of anything ever. You can't just ID as a thing and be a thing. The example that people always give as a counter to this is always like, what about your name? Your name can be whatever you want to be. It's like, yeah, but that's your name. The name is supposed to be whatever you want it to be. But no other category of thing works that way. I think that when you
that I totally agree with. It's the same thing with the like having all kinds of neo-pronouns and things like that. It's like, what's the point then? What's the point? Just call me by my name. That's what a pronoun takes the place of your proper noun, of your noun. So it just helps you shorten your sentences. But if you don't know somebody's pronoun and you can no longer say they, you literally put their name in, and you make it as clunky as fuck. Chinsia went. What's it? I'm sending this email and CCing in Chinsia. Chinsia will please do this, not she, nothing. You just use the person's name. Can work.
When you've pushed self-ID,
not like that guy that did my esteemed colleague. That was bullshit. That was dick. Sorry.
ID a lot, then what happens is of course you can't like challenge somebody on whether or not they are trans because the qualifications for them being trans are them saying that they're trans, even though really that's not the case. Like if I ID right now as trans, that doesn't make me trans. Like the underlying fact of the matter is I'm not, or at least I don't think I am. So
he doesn't think he is, guys. He doesn't think he is. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think
wouldn't wish that on him.
Yeah, to give the argument on the other side though, because I am sympathetic towards it, is
Okay, sympathetic to the other part of the argument. Go past Kitty. You did it.
It probably feels like for a long time, if you are trans, that a lot of the people that are putting up those roadblocks in front of you to be like, we just got to be sure, they're not really trying to put up roadblocks to make sure you are trans. They just don't believe in it at all. And they're trying to make the process as confusing or difficult or as impossible as they can in order to prevent anybody from taking that treatment. So I can understand where the push from the left comes from to make it more accepting as well.
Okay, you can see where the left is coming from. So he has both of the opinions. He's also giving you the extra. Can also see where the left to make it more accepting. Okay.
Kind of like when you go to like some like abortion clinics, I think some states try to say that like they have to show you like a picture of like the fetus before you have an abortion, which whether or not you're pro or anti-abortion, like obviously the goal is to try to like make it as difficult as possible for you to actually go through with it, you know?
I remember this was sort of my first hint that the trans shit had in many ways become a cult. Was right before I started my medical transition, I sought out like a support group or whatever. It was like the one in my city, and it
all these people. Okay, so listen, I'm going to, let's see what this conclusion is. Final part, groomer. They got onto groomer. Let's just have a quick squiz through the rest of the diagram. They talk about the trans shit becoming a cult. Actual trans people. They talk about actual trans people. It's difficult to have these conversations, yes, but look at you guys having the conversation. Hard to find value numbers. Kids being radicalized. Leftists in my audience want me to let go of transitioning kids equals bad. Long-term studies. They're talking about studies. White liberals. Things that would improve sentiment towards trans people. Early 90s and 2000s. Look at this. I went into keyword time. Just go, like, look. Oh, okay. I went there. 44. So we were at 44. I got to 44, 48 in part 1. That's pretty good, guys. I was good in part. Was it what? Crazy. I did this in a 3-parter, actually. Okay, and then part 2, Destiny calls Blair out. Okay, I think we just did the last bit, but listen. I can't spend another point on getting all the way through this. Maybe I'll revisit it again. We've gotten to 32, 15. I think that's pretty good. As I revisit, woo, that's bright. So yeah, our revisit was fun. Did you guys enjoy it? I enjoyed it. What can I say about what have we learned from this? I still love this conversation. I miss collaborative discussions where you can disagree and at the same time work on finding out the points that you're interested in. This is what we try and do on Thinkers. That's actually what I'm really interested in doing on Thinkers when we disagree, is just hearing the other person out, knowing that they're not going to change their mind. Then maybe they will, but you have to just make sure that you understand what the other person is saying. So speaking of which, we're going to do that tomorrow. We're going to do a think, because guess what? Tomorrow is Thursday. Let's just get, I'm going to have to reshare the, I'll reshare, republish, I suppose, the, what's the name? The diagram. Woo! God damn. It's relaxed, yeah. Well, that doesn't help. Yeah, I'll republish the diagram for you, Nico. We'll do some other revisits. Is there anything you would like me to, any diagram you think I should revisit? Let me know. In the Discord, in comments, maybe I'll put a few together that I want to go through again, and you can vote for it. Who knows? Just keep your notifications on and keep looking at the community tab for polls and things, or follow me on Twitter, or don't, because you might be a happy person and you don't use Twitter. But yes, we are thinking tomorrow. Tomorrow's the think. We're doing a thunk on what seems to be our topic is going to be failure and bitterness in the movie industry. I don't know, but now I want to make a diagram of a turtle. Please do, and share it in the Discord, Ronnie. Otherwise, I'll do it. Turtles. You know what I mean? Like about turtles, I can immediately think of a diagram that I would make for turtles. I have at one point also suggested a stream where I will diagram anything that is suggested by chat. So we could do that one day, see how many people are interested in it. Don't call me and bitterness. Okay. But anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. Thank you for your comments. Item, Congo Chris, Ronnie, Hairy Guy Sketches, all of you. We'll give it a shot. I really want to see that. Please share it with us. We want to see the diagram of turtle. Thanks, Rosales, for your jokes as usual. Instance, everybody. And of course, Congo Chris with the super chats. God damn. Sorry about the first one not coming through. But yeah, I think that's it. Just a reminder that in about a month's time, I will be streaming during daytime for the Americans. So the things are going to change up. But hey, I will also be able to upload videos that I'll maybe premiere at this time. So there will be still something that you could do at this time, but the streams will be at a different time. Point is, exciting things are coming. Please stick around, share with your friends, tell them to subscribe if they are crazy nerd people, kind of autistic. They would really enjoy this. And actually, they would probably not, because I'm not good enough at it. But just whatever. Here is something for you.
Go and subscribe, you shit.
That will be all. Okay, thanks, bye.